Today, we're joined by our very good friend, Joe.
Welcome. I made it.
You made it. Former Nintendo employee. You are now working at Capcom. Your official title at Capcom is Hype Man.
Lead Hype Man.
Lead Hype Man for Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yes.
I gotta change my
your business cards, emails.
Yeah, that's what it says on
your
card,
signature
right?
says Lead Hype Man. But you used to be on the Nintendo social team. This man
With
was
us.
your boss.
Yeah.
Was he your boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ugh. Two survivors. Just kidding.
We did it.
We did it. We made it. Wait, I'm still here. Oh no. But yeah, we're so excited to have you here. We're going to be chatting about all the stuff that you've been up to. Some very fun insider Nintendo stories that we'll be telling. Yeah, and you're just going to hang out with us for this whole episode. Which is great.
Believe it or not, there are more than 2 former Nintendo employees.
Believe it or not.
They're out there.
Oh, wow.
They're out there. We are in the wild.
We are high in
We
numbers.
exist.
Yes,
Yes.
we're finding them and we're bringing on here. Yes, this is going to be wonderful. We have a long list of questions and topics and things we want to talk about. Of course, Monster Hunter, the huge success of that. Before we do, though, have you played the great game Split Fiction?
Or heard of it.
I have not.
You have not tried it yet.
I'm super excited.
Well, I think you should. Maybe you could start by watching our great gameplay videos that we have out on our channel. We did a fun thing where we started the game. First hour is on YouTube. Second half is exclusive on Patreon. This game is great.
This game is so good, and I actually didn't really like It Takes Two. Did you
really?
Did you like that
I
game?
did, yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's obviously like made by the same studio and has that very like built for co-op type of gameplay. I like this one a lot more, and it's super fun.
We're going to talk about it more in the games we're playing,
Yeah.
but those videos are out if you want to check those out.
Yeah.
And it's getting to be about that time for us to really dig deep on the next Super Kit and Krysta 64 vlog. We got a couple things going up. March is about to get super
Well, March is
busy.
your birthday month,
And it's my birthday.
which is very exciting for you.
This week, we are going retro game shopping to a new place.
Yeah.
That's a little bit like out of the city. So
It's in
it's like a
Petaluma,
road
right?
trip meets retro game shopping. Do you have a retro game that we should keep an eye out for?
Ooh,
What's on your
A
list?
classic Capcom banger, perhaps? No.
Oh, well, I mean, I always look out for Pokemon games. This is not a Capcom game. But
Okay.
anytime I see cartridge, the
This
old
was your
Pokemon
chance to plug Onimusha, classic Onimusha. Oh, you should get ready.
No, but you can buy that normally, It's available digitally. We're talking about stuff that's
Not
Hard
spending
to
hundreds of
find,
dollars
yeah.
on Pokemon.
Yeah.
We're always in the market for a virtual boy.
Oh.
Do you remember there was somebody we worked with who had the pristine virtual boy
On his desk.
On the
Damn.
desk.
Did you ever try it out, that Virtual Boy?
Oh no, it's so dusty.
I tried it out one time, and I think my eyes have never been the same since.
Yeah, I don't intend to use it. I would like to have that
it
though,
for
as
like
a piece of
Sit on the shelf.
museum piece.
history, piece of memorabilia.
Yeah.
I've got a few things in my mind that I might be looking out for, but that's only one part of this vlog. Then the week after that is Game Developers Conference,
We were
which
just
is
talking about that.
right in our backyard. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of things we're going to be seeing and doing. We're going to be vlogging that.
Yes.
And then you've planned a great birthday celebration for
I
me that
have.
I guess is going to be
It's actually going to be
included in this.
the week of GDC, since
Right.
you're going to be up in the city.
Yes.
We're going to go see a Warriors game.
Ooh,
I'm sure you would be happy about that. That's a good. Don't you think I did a good job?
I thought I was gonna start right now, the birthday celebration.
Where are the balloons?
Someone just
Everyone's
burst in the
gonna
door.
put confetti
We're
drop.
a big proponent of birthday month, and we're in the birthday month.
We
and
are in the birthday
absolutely
month.
nothing has happened. Absolutely
Wow,
nothing.
called out.
So I'm
Jeez.
just saying.
Joe, I brought Joe.
Maybe we can leave birthday
Yeah,
month
there you
behind.
No, birthday month
Dang,
will stay
disillusioned now.
forever. Very
I don't know if we need
disillusioned.
birthday month. I don't know. All right, well, let's not make Joe wait any longer. Let's get into our great conversation with him. But first, we have a wonderful sponsor to shout out. This episode is sponsored by Raycon.
Thank you.
Like we were just saying, March is a crazy month. Madness is a word that sometimes people use to describe March.
yes.
There's so much going on. We're so busy. The birds are out. The time has changed. The light
all
is out.
discombobulated,
And
yes.
sometimes it just feels like you're constantly getting erupted. That is, unless you have the everyday earbuds by Raycon and their incredible active noise cancellation.
I use it every day on my walk, because I live in the city. It's
Yeah.
very noisy. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently.
Oh.
Because there's been a lot of really
Our
great...
own, perhaps?
Our own, and also there's been some great TV shows.
Nothing weird about that?
There's some really good TV shows out right now, so I need to listen to all the deep dive podcasts. And Raycon is my go-to every day.
Great battery life, 32 hours. Again, the thing that
Yeah.
I like the best, they do not fall out of your ear. There are
Yes.
some other big name earbuds that if you
Jostle
Even
your
if you
head.
literally sit still, they will fall out of your ear.
My
These
ear
do not.
holes, though. They need
These stay in place,
comfortable.
sound great, feel great, and yeah, the battery life just goes and goes and goes.
It does.
It's
Also,
wonderful.
very nice colors. I think that's important to me.
Choose whatever color you want.
whatever color
I
you
have the
want.
very boring black color,
I have a white one.
but they
It's
come in a very
Very
nice. That's
classy.
nice.
Very classy.
That's nice. That fits your aesthetic.
It does.
Wonderful.
It's very
Yes.
aesthetic.
So you can go to buyraycon.com/KitandKrysta to get 20% off the best-selling everyday earbuds. Brought to you by Raycon. Buyraycon.com/KitandKrysta.
We'll put the link here. QR code is here. Scan it, get your discount. It's great.
Before we wrap that up, how does the 32-hour battery life compare to the Wii U Pro Controller? That thing is
about the same, maybe.
That thing's still going.
That thing's still
Yeah.
going, though, maybe. Yeah.
It's not often used.
That's
though.
true, yeah.
You'll be using it a little bit less than the
Don't
earbuds.
jam your Pro Controller into your ears.
No,
Don't do that.
that's not right.
Don't do that.
Not
Yeah.
recommended. Yeah.
So let's start with your. What year did you start at Nintendo? It was before I took over on the social team.
Yeah, it was like
So
right
it'd been
before
like-
that. So I think 2018 is when I started.
2018
Yeah.
is when you
yeah.
officially
Yeah.
started. And you had this really interesting path kind of into the industry where you had been at a couple companies before Nintendo, but it was always in this contractor role.
Yeah.
And that's actually how you started at Nintendo, and you were like a contractor for a while. Like, what is that like, the life of a contractor?
Not a
So-
contract killer, just a
What?
A hired gun.
hired gun.
Yeah, I mean, like, so at the time, like, at least, like, in my life, like, my personal life and, like, my career, you're kind of taking, like, what you can get, right? Like, breaking into the game
Yeah.
industry is tough. It's, like, it's really hard. I think I was, like, I'm, like, in my 10th year in the industry now. I think I was, like, 23 or 22 at the time when I took my first job. So it's just, like, all right, well, you don't really think about it. It's a one-year contract. Like, let's just jump into it. And my first job when I was at 2K, I was kind of just, like, thrown into the fire. I didn't know anything about like working in the corporate world. I didn't even know how to send like an email to like people. Just like, why are people talking through Skype, but then they also message me on this other app? And like,
Oh, wow.
like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing it this way? So that was like really like my first exposure to like doing anything corporate. I think like what I really learned during that like first job is that you know I was kind of just like I knew the contract was coming up at some point, and I didn't really think about it. I was kind of just like, I was going to do my job and
Go with the flow.
Yeah,
Hope for
Yeah.
the best.
yeah. And then all of a sudden at the end of it, it was just like, well, we can extend you a few more months, but like after that, like we don't really have anything for you. I wasn't really prepared. I didn't like have another place to go, so I was kind of like, oh man, like what do I do? Eventually, like things worked out. I got like another contract job before that, another place, and then I did it at Nintendo on a contract job. And like to me, it's like a dream come true. Like I'll take it as a contract, right? But this time, like I could kind of learn the lessons from the first time. And you guys know this, that I was like constantly asking, like, hey, like, you know, is there a future beyond this like 1 year contract that I have? I tried to interview at other places, and also just like at the same time, just like keep your head down and do a really good job because you want to be like as undeniable as possible. Like don't give like any reason at the end
Indispensable.
of it.
Yeah.
Become like a needed part of the team, which you did immediately. So of course, yeah, I think when that was happening, we were all pushing to make sure that you were able to stay.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing is like there's no guarantee that you can find like a long-term thing. And that's like kind of the weird life of a contractor where I think when you joined on was the same time that there was another kind of entry-level person coming into social. And you had, you know, somewhat similar but a little bit different backgrounds. It was like, well, why is one the contractor and why is one the full-time position?
That was weird.
I don't think that was ever really explained. So it was like, all right, well, one's going to be here full-time. The other one, like, we'll see what happens.
But you were the boss. What was the deal?
Well, it was
that's
actually
it.
before him.
I did not.
I don't want to throw him under the bus.
I very clearly like made the case many times. But it was like, oh, you know, the head count's so tight. We got, you know, we got.
The
Oh, I
head
need
count
to.
was always a problem.
I
at
need to
Nintendo.
talk to Doug
Everywhere,
Bowser. We'll see what we can do, but I don't know. There's no guarantees.
It's amazing how, like, when you hire somebody too at Nintendo, like, you need everyone to weigh in. Remember that? Like, not only Doug Bowser, but like the president of the entire company.
Yeah.
Like, at the time,
It's
I
like,
think it was like Mr. Kimishima or something.
Yeah.
The pre-Mr. Furukawa days. But it's like Mr. Kimishima needs to approve this job for this one
Like a person they'll never see.
one person
never
on this
interact
one
with.
team.
Yeah.
Like, why does he how do we even sell it to this person? It's
Yeah,
like so
yeah.
far removed, you know?
Did you ever lose confidence though, where you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting a foot in the door in the industry, but is this even going to work out, or am I just going to keep bouncing around on these contracts?
No, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I thought about like, what if I just don't do gaming anymore? Like, what if I go somewhere else? Like, is this really the right
Where would you have
thing
gone?
for me? I don't know.
Still entertainment or
Yeah.
something else?
I don't know, like maybe like in tech or something, but you
Okay,
know, but
yeah.
then it's also so like volatile in tech too. So,
So true, yeah. Back in those days it was a little better. Nowadays it's like very
Oh, yeah.
unstable. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I definitely like, you know, would absolutely like lose confidence. Like, is this like something I even want to continue doing, or like?
Because you gotta
yeah.
work so hard to pursue it, you know? So
But at
yeah.
the same time, like in my life, like it was a good time to do those things because I had like no responsibilities really. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have a family or anything like that. I had no mortgage to pay. Like
Yeah.
if I want to like take risks,
Sure.
and also like, you know, notoriously on these contractor jobs, you have no benefits. So it's just like,
Right.
well,
You're young and
yeah.
healthy, it's fine.
So it's just like whatever, like
kidding,
like
that's really bad.
the job seems fun, like yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But like now, if I was in that position now, I don't think I wouldn't do the same thing now. Like, I
Yeah.
need a career
Yeah.
job. So,
Now you
yeah.
need the stability, you know?
yeah.
So
It was like the right timing for myself and like my career and my
Yeah,
life and
that
like
makes
breaking
sense.
through.
Yeah.
But like now it's different.
So take us through all the games you worked at on Nintendo. I think the big one that like you really, really had your stamp on is Animal Crossing.
yeah.
But there were so many others. Like even I can't even remember all of them.
Yeah,
Terrible boss.
I remember Skyward Sword.
yeah, that was one. Yeah, but when I first started, I like quickly jumped into working on Smash.
That's right.
Like helping
With
out.
me.
Yeah, with you and our good friend Anthony, who
Yes,
is the lead
yes.
on that. So
Still
I
there.
Yeah.
You two were my go-to because I'm not like a huge fighting game person. Like I obviously like know all about Smash, but like you guys were actually like super good at Smash and like actually like living the fighting game lifestyle.
Yeah, we would
like,
play like after
you
work all
guys,
the time.
I would walk by your desk and you would be playing Smash
Yeah.
with Anthony all the time,
Yeah.
and but you were like my go-to like experts. Like if I needed something, I knew you guys would know the answer for sure. But that was a challenging game for all of us, I think.
I think it was Smash and Pokemon. I think it was like the Let's Go
Pokemon.
games.
Okay, that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
2018. Yeah, so I jumped onto those really quickly, and I got to like learn a lot from Anthony because he had been there for a while already. He's leading
Yeah.
those campaigns. I had none of like the Nintendo institutional knowledge, which is like 90% of what the job is.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, so
learning how to
true.
operate at Nintendo.
It's so true, and it's such a weird place to
Yeah.
learn how to operate too. So if you don't have someone to kind of help you, it's a very daunting experience.
Yeah. And like, you know, kudos to Anthony. Like one of the main things I learned from him was just like, it's a crazy work environment. That guy never gets rattled with
Yeah.
anything. Like he's very like even keeled, which is like the ultimate Nintendo attitude of just like
That's him.
Yeah, just like him. It's just like
Yeah.
things are good, don't freak out. Things
are
are
bad,
bad, just
don't freak
don't freak
out.
out. Just
Yeah.
go with the flow.
So true.
Yeah, don't overreact.
And never like get so like locked onto something because things can change in a 2nd, and if you get so locked onto it and you're like always, you know, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, then you're just never gonna catch up. So
Yeah.
Anthony did have a good attitude when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Some people that don't do well at Nintendo are people that don't have that attitude, and they're like very easily stressed and rattled.
For
and
sure,
then you're
yeah.
like, oh, you're not gonna last.
Yeah, because you
Sorry.
can invest yourself in something that you feel really strongly about, and like
Yeah.
the teams will just have like completely different opinions. on it.
Exactly.
You'll take it all the way to the end, and just like you end up getting a no.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Or like try to take like the small wins of like, oh well, I was able to influence this, or like at least I got heard.
Exactly,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, if it doesn't get executed, like some people handle it differently. So
So
it's
true.
tough,
yeah. So you worked on all those games, and then yeah, was Animal Crossing sort of Horizons was your last big foray before the office closed? Was that it? Or?
No, I worked on like a bunch of like Skyward Sword was one of them. I'm trying to think about what else I worked on, but Animal Crossing was the one that like kind of stuck with me
Yeah.
because. So basically, like after I got converted to full time, then I got kind of like thrown into Animal Crossing, which was just like such a daunting
It is, yeah.
campaign to be part of, and it was like a multi-year thing because we started in like what 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And then it's just like
And the pandemic happened.
yeah, and then
That was
pandemic.
wild. Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a fun campaign, but it also like really challenged me to think outside the box because I'm coming from this like core gamer background, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the game that's gonna sell Switch to everyone.
Yeah.
Like not just like, you know, the Nintendo fan, but it's like we need Animal Crossing to be like the system seller for like women and like just
Yeah,
like a huge
so many
expanded
different
audience.
people, yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I don't know anything about like this.
I don't know anything about women.
Yeah. Well, it's like, well, it's like
true.
Was that a career-making campaign? You just take that to Capcom and say, back up the truck. You know what you're getting with me. Hits.
Honestly,
That's what you're getting.
Hit after hit, baby.
Yeah.
And it's happening.
Yeah.
It just continues happening.
Capcom is so lucky to have you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Let's go to our first question from Patreon. This one's for you from Dude Dad Life Trilek. Joe, it often feels like Nintendo does not respond or listen to the feedback from their fans on social media. Does anybody actually read responses on their social media posts and take feedback from fans?
You read a lot of. You had a lot of responses.
He just gazes out into the camera.
No, it's within reason. So I mean, like, at least like, when I was there, like, we try to like take in as much of like the feedback as possible, but like not everything is actionable. Like, and also we have to like represent what is like the majority opinion. Like, if there's one person screaming that like the game's not working or like I hate this game and it's not constructive at all, like what can we do with that? Like, I can't just go to the dev team and say like, oh well, like this guy said this game sucks. It doesn't work that way. It's like it has to be measured, and like we have to like take in like what is like the majority opinion, and if there's like things that are like maybe smaller button issues, like obviously we take that too. But like, we can't just like say, oh, this guy's screaming about direct. They really want direct.
So,
what do we do about that? Like, we have a plan to execute, and the team has a plan to execute. So, when we were there, like, obviously, we tried to take in as much feedback as possible, especially, like, the time, like, during the pandemic where it's just, like, people felt like there wasn't enough communication from Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Like, we were kind of like a black box, and we're just like, well, what can we do to, like, kind of show the community that, like, we're still here? And, like,
with Smash, too. I remember there was so many volatile opinions and also just like things happening around the competitive like Smash community. We lived that drama.
Yeah.
And
well, I remember go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
I remember we had like in that time in the pandemic when all of like the Smash tournament stuff was like falling apart and it was just bad news. Yeah. Like, I got the feeling that, like, you and Anthony and some of the other guys were taking that kind of hard. And it was like, we just need to have, like, a talk-it-out session.
Yeah.
And so, like, can you talk a little bit about, like, obviously looking at these responses, like, how does that impact you as a person? Obviously, like, you're representing Nintendo, but you were still the person on the end.
The receiving end.
On the receiving end of all this.
No, I remember, I think I was working on Hyrule Warriors, and the Breath of the Wild one, Age of Calamity, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the subtitle. God, that was so long ago.
Such a good game, though.
And so I think it was like launch weekend for that game. Big campaign, because we didn't really have like a lot of other big titles. I think it was in 2020.
Yeah.
So like a lot of like, time and effort into that campaign was put into it. And I remember launch weekend, I think it was around the same time where something was going crazy in the Smash community. I can't even remember what the issue was.
Yeah,
it
was like, one of the many.
Yeah, one of the many. And I remember like it was really disheartening for me because like I was involved in both of those things. Like the Smash thing, I didn't know that was like actually happening that exact timing. But then I'm also like the campaign I'm working on, it's launch day, all the posts that we're posting, everyone's just flooding it with stuff about Smash.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
You're getting the flood of negativity
Yeah.
of all the launch day stuff. That's the worst.
And I think that's like, at a lot of companies too, like things tend to happen, like in big companies, things happen in a vacuum and then all of a sudden like they collide in a day where nobody expected. And it's, for me in that specific instance, it was pretty disheartening because I'm just like, well, I'm part of both these things and like one of my babies is being sabotaged by my other baby,
It's so true.
Yeah,
I think people forget a lot of the times when like they leave, hate comments or just not constructive feedback on social media because it's so easy for anyone to do that. Like there's somebody on the other side that is that has to like deal with this,
Yeah.
Like people forget that. Like you just become like this faceless, like corporate blob, and people don't realize that there's actual like human beings on the other side that has to deal with this.
Or in our case,
stuff.
it's just you.
Me, or you.
It's just you.
And, like I have thick skin about this stuff. Like, anytime like we get feedback that's like hard to read, I'm also like, I'm a gamer too, so like I try to see it from the perspective of community, right?
That's true.
So it's just it's not
well,
like
there's something really wrong.
Yeah, it's not like I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this guy's opinion is terrible. Like, just ignore it. Like, no, I mean, like, sometimes I'm just like, I get it, dude. Like, we'll try to do something like about it. But but obviously, like one person screaming in the void, like, I can't do much about that.
Yeah.
Like, I have to think about like everything.
We always talk about the vocal minority, and you have to look for the majority. Like, what are the things people are actually upset about and you know, things that definitely can be fixed or be better, like those are the things that I think good companies, good video game companies really focus on to
I think
try to action on, you know?
Yeah, I think the vocal minority like always has a point too, because like we want to service them too, but it's always just like with game development, it's like triage. It's like, okay, what is like the thing that's like literally stopping people from playing this game? Or it's a huge issue. Like if we don't fix this now, then, you know, and also like what is fixable like in the short term versus the long term.
Yeah,
so, it's always just like, there's just so many like things to consider.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say is a common misconception about working in social for games?
That the intern is the one posting it.
The social media intern.
Which
the social media contractor, get it right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's always like the main one.
So funny.
You know, I think it's like, we're not only spending our time on like what's being posted. You know, it's like we're spending like so much of our time like all of like campaign planning or like getting things approved, strategy, or like bringing back feedback to the team, or like giving metrics and things like that. And then, you know, at least like with Capcom, like I spend a lot of time like doing community work. So it's like what is the community saying? Like working with the dev team on like what the sentiment is like, and like what our suggestions are like for different things. So there's a lot involved, but it's like I always feel that the misconception is like, oh, I know how to post on Facebook, on my personal Facebook. I can do that job.
Oh, people always say that, even at Nintendo too, because everyone has like their personal social media. They're like, I'm an expert. I know how to do this, and you're like, you so don't. It's so different managing like, you know, brand accounts with millions of followers and, you know, having everything work around a single social strategy than just you posting like your weekend photos on Facebook, you know?
And like the posting part of it is such a small part of the job.
That's the part that's like the easiest part.
Yeah, it's the easiest part.
Except for Nintendo, when we used to have to Slack ourselves.
Oh my gosh, some things haven't changed.
That was so funny. It's like, why do I have so many messages to myself? So the backstory on that is that Nintendo did this thing where they like closed off the Office network from our personal networks, but we were all using like our personal phones to post stuff to the Nintendo social channels. But like there was no way for you to send like the official trailer from the work network to your personal network. So you would have to like message it to yourself.
You couldn't even copy text.
You couldn't
out of it. It's ridiculous.
That text. So you know how like if you try to like paste something from Teams, it'll say this organization's data is
encrypted or whatever. Yeah.
I have almost posted that exact text multiple times. Just like on my phone, like
oh no. Yeah, but I have basically like an ongoing like chain to myself with social copy and social assets, because that was the only way to get it to my phone, which we were doing all our posting from, was our personal phones. It was so funny, but we would be like so frustrated.
Like, why is it like this?
And we're like, we're gonna make a mistake.
It's like when you save it too, and they're just like, why is it not like it's not in the photos folder? Like I don't know why it's not there.
So annoying. Oh my god, we can even airdrop. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
When I finally was able to airdrop something to myself, like you know, when I like left the company, I was like, my life has changed.
Literally hours a week.
My life has changed.
That you were spending doing nonsense, like file transfers, bouncing it off this and that. Like
Aspera.
Forget it.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
Incredible technology.
Incredible technology.
Dallas E wants to know how the Isabel Twitter account came to be. We got the two right people here to talk about it.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Well, we started that Twitter account for New Leaf, and it was really fun to like. I think it was the first time we did something that was from the character's voice. So that was a campaign that I worked on like in the early days, and that account got started. I used to be the person posting as Isabel, so I would like work with the localization team, and they would like translate the Japanese tweets, and I would like make it sound good in English, and then post them all. And then that account basically went dormant for a really long time because we had no new Animal Crossing game coming out, and no point for us to be as active there. And then we launched New Horizons, and you took over that account.
So before that, the Isabel account became like possessed by Pocket Camp.
That's right, Pocket Camp. I blocked that out of my memory because it was garbage.
Yeah, and so I also worked on the mobile side of things. So like, you know, it was very light. Like I would just like kind of approve things, and the localization team did a great job.
They do a lot for those accounts.
So then when New Horizons was spinning up, we were kind of like, what do we do with this account? We have this Isabel thing. Like, is it more of a burden if we stick with the Isabel voice, or should we just like have an Animal Crossing like account that's just like you know regular social media thing? So I think we spent like a lot of time debating on what we would actually do. And then the solution we actually came up with was like, well, Isabel's in this game, but she's not like as big of a role as Tom Nook.
Yeah.
So we're like, but we don't want to kill Isabel, you know, like
dire straits. Yeah.
like Isabel should still be here, but like let's have Tom Nook take over for a few months.
Yeah.
So at launch he took over for I think it was like from March until like the
that
summer.
was cute. I like that.
Didn't stop people from being like Tom Nook killed Isabel.
And then we put everybody in those little jails in the game.
But it was super fun. I mean, like
Yeah.
the localization team again, they just do like an incredible job.
They
Worked
really
really
are.
closely with them, and like pretty much the same process that
Yeah.
you mentioned.
Describe that process a little bit.
So basically, we would identify like what posts we're posting, and then the localization team would take their own pass at it to write it in her voice, and then
Yeah.
I would bring it back and like try to make it more social media-y or like
Yeah.
cut it down because it might be too long. The text is
Right.
too long. And that, I mean, that was basically it. And like that was a process that continued for years. There were times where I just wrote Isabel posts on my own, and then I would give it to them
To like approve and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I will say that when we talked to the director of Animal Crossing, Ayaki Goku, she loves the Isabel account. So I think we did a good job. I also have a secret video when that account was like finally launched and that the New Leaf campaign was coming to an end. The person that was working on that with me, she's also no longer at Nintendo, but she gave me this like incredible gift where they programmed Isabel to say like
Aw.
thank you, Krysta,
Yeah,
for
that-
making but
Yeah.
it was like in
the game.
in-game
Aw.
text. And she said, if you ever show anybody this video, like if you ever post it,
Don't show
I will,
them.
No, you're just talking
No, no, no.
about
I
it.
will show you. I'm not showing the video.
What's the difference at this point?
I can't show you the video, but it existed and it was
Okay.
really cool.
So you also worked on Nintendo Direct. I mean, wow, what amazing thing didn't you work on? How did you get started on that?
So I was a fan of Directs before. I mean, you worked on them like back in the day, right? Like when they were like super goofy, and you were like doing like actual like interviews and stuff in
Right.
them. And then they've kind of like really become like this well-oiled machine where
Yeah.
it's like there's
Yeah,
like,
you were
no-
like living that transition.
Yeah. So I was like really interested in working in them because it's like I think they're really cool. Like as a Nintendo fan, they're super fun to be part of. It's like I would say easily the best like digital event showcase thing that
Yeah.
anybody does.
Yeah. So many people emulate that now, you know?
Yeah,
It's great, yeah.
And then working on the social side of things before I was actually involved in like production stuff, it was like very difficult from the social side because we had no information. Like we basically got nothing until like stuff started to go live. And so part of it was like my personal interest and also just like our team needs to be better involved in this. Like we need to know what's happening and like hopefully like it'll result in good things. And so that was when I started working with the team there. And I think it was like maybe in 2019 where there's like a small group of people who were like involved really early on each direct. And I was really honored to be part of that. And during that time, it was like, it was almost as if like I was barely doing the social part of the job and like working with the rest of the team to execute that part. And I was more involved in the production. I would like review scripts. I would review like the overall like flow of the show and
Yeah.
like how do we feel about the content? Like, is the content good this time? If it's like maybe not such a good direct, let's tweak like the messaging and like try to set expectations.
Yeah.
I would do things like, try to, help around like the order of like titles and stuff because in my
Pacing,
yeah,
so
the pacing.
important.
In my opinion, like this is why directs are good. It's like you open with something great, you have something in the middle that's good, but like maybe not like megaton tier
Yeah.
level, and then you end on the megaton tier level.
Yeah, totally. You got to
And-
keep people
yeah.
engaged throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. And then that elevates everything in the middle because at the end of the day, like people are watching directs because they want to see Nintendo first party games.
Yeah.
This is like true of any like first party. And you want like the third party stuff to be elevated too, but like if people are unsatisfied with the first party stuff, they're just going to be like that direct sucked. Like
Yeah.
Why do you think this is so hard to emulate? Which sounds pretty simple as you just described it.
I think it's like securing the titles is so hard. Like people think like you can turn around a direct like pretty quickly. It's
Just like how easy it's post on social.
yeah.
Just do it.
The production around
Just make a direct, just do it.
scripting, around like, yeah, to your point, like how do we make sure the order and the pacing is as best as we can get it?
Yeah.
Like the strategy around like which games are being highlighted when is so hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And then also then, if you're talking about like non-first party games or third party games, indie games, you're needing to like do a lot of like wrangling the cats kind of thing to get people like send your assets. Is this the final version of your trailer? What are you guys doing on your social channels to make sure that we're amplifying at the same time? Don't go early. Don't go too late, but don't go early.
Like things fall out all the time too, which completely like changes the whole like a big title could fall out and you're just like,
what do we do? There's a huge hole here now. Yeah.
It's like this thing is like 10 minutes shorter. Like what are we supposed to do now? It's like, do we turn it into like a mini or something? Like stuff would happen all the time.
That would happen like down to the wire too.
Yeah.
So it would not be like as like clean as people expect.
I won't name like the specific people, but like they know who they are. They do an incredible job like putting these things together, like a production like level that is like maybe the most productive human beings I've ever seen. Like they're just like wrangling everything together. There's so much stuff to think about. So
it's a lot of detail.
Yeah. Anytime like someone's just like, well, why don't they do a direct on this date or like they're thinking,
no idea.
It's just like there's production realities, there's like the development realities of like how games are pacing along, and just so much stuff.
The readiness of all the things. Oh, it's so much. Yeah.
Ninja 11 wants to know, what was your biggest success or accomplishment and your biggest accident or failure at Nintendo?
Let's do the accident first.
Oh.
I don't recall you having a big accident.
Oh.
Unless you didn't tell me.
A big whoopsie?
Unless you didn't tell me.
Whoopsie.
Did you have
Unless it's
I can't.
ego boom boom in my pants kind of accident.
An accident.
I don't think you did anything.
There was one thing. There was one thing.
You're like, I never
shame.
I never knew about this.
Yeah, so I was filling in for somebody on Pokemon one day. And I think like a post with the wrong wording went out, which was like, I think it was like Gym Masters or something. And it somehow like made it all the way down the chain. And so like when it was given to me, I was just like, I didn't like really think about it because I didn't know like what the content of the game is.
Yeah. And because you weren't even working that game, right? So you were backing up somebody?
Yeah. So then I was just like, I put it out, and then all of a sudden just like this is really bad. Like people are thinking like it's a completely different gym system, like it's totally new.
Right.
I was like,
they read into it.
What did I do?
Oh, did you get a call from TPCI?
I don't think I got one directly, but somebody did.
The guy who took the day off was.
Did you get a call from TPCI?
There was a similar. It may have been that situation. There was something very similar, and like the way it got explained to me by that person was a little confusing. And then I had a call with somebody else, and the conversation was also. I think we all just collectively confused ourselves to the extent we're like, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Because
Did you guys pull the
nobody
tweet
really
down?
understands.
Pull the post down?
No. I think it ended up staying up. Yeah.
Okay, then there's draw more attention to it, right? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a good reminder that just like the wording matters. Like
people read into everything.
Yeah.
So
it's a good problem to have because it's like people are
people care
stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
totally.
right. Biggest success? Non-Animal Crossing related.
Yeah, non-Animal Crossing. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Dang, you took out Animal Crossing, so I don't know.
Nothing. It was all a catastrophic failure. Let's move on then. Back to Animal Crossing kind of crossed the line into this pandemic right as the game was coming out. Can you talk about just like your experience in that moment where there's like, oh my gosh, there's a real world catastrophe happening. They're trying to release this game.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, I have a very like specific memory with this. So, I think the event we went to was PAX East in Boston.
Yeah.
You guys were there.
We shouldn't have
like,
been there.
We
We really should not have been
Is
there.
that a super spreader? Like we could have died.
Yeah, I think that was the one that like notoriously like PlayStation pulled out of, and that was
And we were, and then I remember getting an email like, if you don't feel comfortable going, you don't have to go. And I was like, oh, I'll go.
Yeah.
It can't be
How
that
bad could it be?
Yeah, like how bad
That's
could
what
it
we
be?
all-
I'll get
three
a
of us
cold
were
or
like-
something, yeah.
Whatever, it's fine, right? It's just the flu, whatever. And then we were like,
Well, so I remember going to that event. It was a big blowout for Animal
Beautiful.
Crossing. Like they had the whole
crazy booth, yeah.
They made the booth like the game in real life, and like we shot like a bunch of videos.
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, we like interviewed all these like Animal Crossing fans, and like we made this like super emotional. Like I can't even remember how long the video was, but
That's
it did really
right.
well.
It was a really good video.
We had like all the mascot characters too, which is great. So working that event like just nonstop, and then I would go back to my hotel room at like however late at night, and spend like half the night working on the next event, which was supposed to be like the next big one in New York.
Yeah.
Yes, that one we did not
so-
get to do.
Yeah, like for me, that was like trying to figure out like all the content that we were going to do
Yeah,
there. I
I
think we had
remember
like
that was-
celebrity involvement too.
That one was
That was a very challenging one
Yeah.
to figure out.
Yeah.
And like because it was such a big tentpole event, like there was a lot of pressure on myself of just like you guys got to make it worth it with the content. Like you have to like
it was expensive.
really do
it
something
was-
big.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh okay. So I spent all that time doing the planning. Then we get back from the event. I think it was like Tuesday or whatever, and they're just like, everybody go home. Also, that event's canceled. So all the work that you did on that is gone.
I remember that, yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, like, one, I'm like heartbroken about like wasting all my time on that
Yeah.
stuff. But two, just like, oh geez, like, am I gonna survive? Like, what's going on? Like,
I remember like getting that notice too. Like everyone go home. We had like one last meeting
Yeah.
as like the Animal Crossing team, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna cancel this event," and we were like all heartbroken because it was gonna be really cool. And then they were like, "We're probably gonna close the office for a little bit,"
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
It's like, cool, I
that-
get to work from home.
We were
like,
flattening the curve.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. I was like, "Okay, yeah, well, maybe like a couple weeks."
Yeah.
And-
Like a
Or less.
staycation.
Yeah, I thought just like a couple days.
Couple
like,
days,
we'll be
couple
back.
days.
whatever.
I'll be back in like you know in a week or so.
Yeah.
And then we never came back.
We never did.
never
And then I
back.
was like, wait, are we here? Are we just at home now?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
weeks later, I could not wrap my head around that. Like I was just at home, like playing the Animal Crossing. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah.
This is so weird.
It was super weird, and man, like having to shift like all the real life stuff that we wanted to do, and then like try to like have more of a digital presence. That was like a big thing.
That
But then,
was huge, yeah.
then the game like launching, and it really just feeling like, oh well, like cool, it's out there. It's like it was very lonely of just
Yeah.
like sitting at home, just like, well, I guess.
Remember
the game's a
when
happy launch day.
we would play Animal Crossing as the only way to have any
Yeah,
social
yeah,
interaction?
yeah.
We would do those meteor showers,
Yeah.
and then we would
Yeah.
all like fall asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wake
yeah.
up like you've
I've
been,
definitely found- yeah.
you have been disconnected. Like, oh man.
Back to my island.
That was like, yeah, that was such a weird time. But I do remember like having a distinct memory of feeling like it was only going to be a couple of weeks and then it became 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that game got so big, but like that week, even just that week before it came out, it was like, is this actually going to make it out to the public? Because I remember that week there was like an
Yeah.
attack on the eShop, and the eShop was down. It was like, oh my god, like what's going on? Like this is unusual. And then there was all the stuff with GameStop of like, can they stay open? Oh, they're an essential
That's right,
service.
yeah,
People need
yeah.
GameStop, and it's like,
Oh,
this-
the essential services.
I don't think this game's going to come out.
Yeah.
I was like, that is a grocery store.
What's happening? The world is crumbling. Man.
And there's like,
Animal Crossing.
I think there's like a lot of other games that like had their dates pushed, or
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
like, because of all of this stuff,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah.
like, whoa, like the fact that we made it out
Thank
was pretty
goodness
crazy.
we had it though, because we
Yeah.
were sad and lonely.
Yeah, it
Kid
was
had a
March 20th, I
birthday.
think.
Kid's birthday's
We
March
all had a
28th.
birthday in Animal
Like,
Crossing.
yours was
okay?
the earliest one.
we all
Yours-
did.
His was
Yeah.
the earliest
We all
one,
did.
and that was
Yeah.
really hard. That
Yeah.
was sad. That was really sad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, you see ya.
Yeah.
I remember coming in, or not coming in, but like we would usually have these like Monday meetings where we talk about like the game performance, like
Yeah,
the sales and
the
stuff.
campaign planning meeting.
And they were like, yeah, the game performed like 450% above goal. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God. And then they're like, well, we got to keep going. And I'm just like,
It'd be a lot better.
By the way, we moved the forecast.
I'm just like sitting there like, did anybody hear that number right? Like,
400?
is like no one going to celebrate? It's just dead silence.
No.
It was weird. It was a weird time. It was like pin drop silence, and we were like
Yeah.
in like a. It didn't. None of it felt real.
No,
I think.
no,
It was like
yeah.
a weird. We were in like a stupor almost, and then
Yeah.
like months went by, and we're like, oh, this game is a hit.
Yeah.
This game is a hit, obviously. Yeah, and then when you see like Biden Island or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, this game.
It's like, oh, yeah,
we
yeah.
have done it. It's gone beyond the Nintendo fans.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really gone beyond. Yeah.
Let's talk about the sad day of the office closing, or when we learned about the office closing. So I knew about this a little bit in advance, and I decided that it would be best for our team to hear this from me rather than out of the blue in the meeting. And you were the first person that I called to tell this to you. And to this day, I do not know if this was the right thing for me to have done. What do you think?
I appreciate that you did it because I think I would have been more devastated if I heard it for the first time in that meeting. Because then I had time to think about it as he was saying it.
Right.
So
Yeah, Doug
Yeah.
announced it to us in the meeting, like
Yeah.
officially.
yeah. So I think it was good
Okay.
to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. When I heard it, I thought I misunderstood. I thought that you meant they're closing the office, but we're just going to be remote workers.
Right.
Full-time
Right. Yeah.
remote.
That's,
I
that's,
was
yeah.
really
Okay.
confused.
Yeah.
And it took me about 2 minutes. You were still talking. And I was like, why are you making such a big deal out of this? Like, this is weird. Like,
Right.
yeah, so what? We've been doing that for 2 years. Like, whatever. So we'll travel to Redmond once a month for meetings. Like, who cares? And then it clicked like 2 minutes in. Oh, they're like, you have to move.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not happening. I'm like, okay, now I understand why it's a big deal.
You also seemed pretty early on the like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think I was the first one to leave.
You were.
Like, period.
Yeah,
Right.
you were like, bye.
Yeah, man. It was like a lot of conflicting emotions. So when we heard the news, obviously like devastated because I thought like I'm gonna work here my entire career. Like,
And you were like, finally, I became a full-time
Yeah.
employee after being a
Yeah.
contractor for so long.
But also like I was really happy with my position in the company because of the stuff I got to work on, which
Yeah.
is really cool. And like I had been able to like move up. Like I think I moved up from like coordinator to like assistant man. Like within the span of a year, I became full-time and then also like got like double promoted.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
was like I was like, oh, okay, so like there's a lot of people
Trajectory
here.
is going well.
People
Yeah.
here like respect me and I feel like really good about my position. So you know, to like give that up was really sad. Like I knew right away like it wasn't going.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had a conversation about it. I just like
Yeah.
could not do it. But I don't even think I've told you guys this privately, but I knew like the only reason I lived in the Bay Area was for that job. And like my wife was with, or my fiance at the time was with us, or was with me there because of the job. Like that was really the only reason. And so I had been kind of like toying around with the idea of moving up to Sacramento where her family is from because I wanted to do that for her because she really only like lived there for that.
Yeah.
But like as long as the Nintendo job existed, I don't think I could have ever given up the job for that.
Right.
It would have taken like, you know, something pretty significant. And then, so like once I heard the news, it was kind of like the world telling me like, oh,
you should
go
definitely
Yeah.
Go
do this for your family. Yeah.
And it ended up being like great decision because I did do the things that I said I was going to do. I bought a house and like started a family and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't have like any regrets about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting because yeah, I was kind of like toying with that idea. I just never thought it'd be a reality, and then it happened.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like that thing happened, and it was the catalyst for you to, and that same thing happened to us, and definitely, you know, I think like you kind of think about like, okay, well, what is it that I really want to do now?
Yeah.
Now that the options are in front of me, you know, and like you had the option of, you know, moving back closer up with, you know, your wife's family and like doing the things that you wanted to do, like. I wanted to leave. And I had wanted to leave for like 13 years. And so I was like, this is perfect. This is like the universe is telling you now is your chance to do this thing that you've been like kind of holding on to. Like you were holding on to it because you're like, as long as I'm here and this job is here, then like I'll just stay here. You know, it's like, well, same thing. It's like as long as I'm here and this job is here, I'll just keep doing it. But it's like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. So yeah, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Now, in the Joe lore, you did not go straight from Nintendo to Capcom. You had a cup of coffee with 2K, back at 2K.
Yeah. So I did
working
go
on
back.
Borderlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
TikToks.
Yeah. Honestly, that was probably like the
That
best.
was the most fun you ever had.
Yeah, because I basically had like free reign to just do whatever.
Tiny Tina
Right.
TikTok was like legit. So every day you send us the TikToks. You're like, look what I did today.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
so
just
not
like,
Nintendo.
they let me post that? Like, okay, cool.
Cool. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. So that was fun. It was a different experience though.
Yeah.
Like coming from like a Japanese company with like all this legacy and like the way it operates and stuff, and then like going back to like the AAA like Western gaming space.
Different vibe.
Different vibe. Like the people are different. Like the
Yeah.
demographic is different. Yeah.
You had a lot more freedom, but it came at a cost. You know.
It did, yeah,
Yeah. One
yeah.
of those kind of situations. Yeah.
So I don't have any like regrets about my time there, but I knew pretty early on that's like, oh well, I guess like the only thing I regret is like maybe like I moved on too quickly. Yeah. So it was just like a little of a transition for me, and then but at the same time, like I think I really like honed in on what do I want out of my career, like where do I want to be, like what is the type of stuff that I want to work on, and for me, like not everybody feels this way. Like they can work on anything, and like the actual like job part of it is the fun part. But for me, I need the product to be like
Oh yeah, I need
something
that. I need that
believe
too.
in.
Yeah, a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's okay. You can just parlay your like marketing and social marketing skills into like any brand."
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
no, but I don't want to work on a fun brand.
Yeah,
Like, I don't want to.
exactly,
I
yeah.
don't want to do it for like something boring.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was super important to me for that. And, even though I did like the stuff that I worked on, I wasn't, like, I kind of felt like a fish out of water a little bit because it's just, like, it wasn't my expertise. It's not my wheelhouse. Like,
Yeah.
like, I like the Borderlands franchise and Wonderlands, but it was definitely, like, not my wheelhouse. So I felt like as a community, like, social media person, I didn't take to it as, like, quickly as, like, Nintendo stuff. It's just, like, I know all this. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy.
I lived this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So-
Capcom was a closer, probably a much closer comp for you.
Yeah,
So you've done Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma. What else at Capcom?
Kunitsugami.
Yeah, great
which was
game.
a new IP.
Yeah.
I also, like, right when I got there, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak came out. So that was, like, the first thing I
good.
worked
Okay,
on.
so
Yeah.
you
That
did
was a good
Sunbreak.
little warm up.
Yeah, and then basically dove into the very long campaign that is Wilds, like pretty soon after that, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like Wilds had, Sunbreak had like a year of support. So it's just like all of that, and then it's just like Monster Hunter is one of the brands that the company is just like constantly on.
Yeah.
So just there's always something. It's like 20th anniversary or like
Yeah.
expansion, updates, all this stuff. So
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Question from the Natrix. What are some of the biggest differences between working at Nintendo and Capcom? Does either company give you more freedom with social media creativity, or are there any differences in which platforms or types of content each company prioritizes?
Biggest difference is I'm closer connected to the dev team for sure. Like I've been to Japan a couple times, and like I have regular meetings with the production team and the developers. Like they know who I am, and they like really value community like very deeply.
You were in the credits.
Yeah, which
of
is cool,
Monster Hunter.
yeah.
I know.
So
I
cool.
was so proud of you. I was like, I did it.
I was waiting with the phone to take a picture.
I was like, oh,
There it is.
there he is. It's very
which is
exciting.
cool. I mean, it's like, working at Nintendo, at least like I don't know if you guys like got in the credits or like positions.
No.
or,
They don't do that.
But yeah, like we just never got in the credits.
No,
so I was
no.
just like I made peace with the fact like I may never be
Yeah,
in a game
yeah,
credit.
yeah,
But
yeah, totally,
So I
yeah.
try not to like think of it as like a validation for like my work because there's people that get credited and like barely touch the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes even the developers don't make it into the Nintendo credits.
Ouch.
But it is cool. It's so cool. to see.
Yeah, it's awesome.
'Cause you're just
On
like,
a
oh,
huge
wow.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true though. You were saying that like one of the things that the dev team at the Monster Hunter dev team really values the community feedback and stuff like that. So you've been doing like lots of meetings where you're telling them what the community's been saying about the game, and they're interested in like hearing that, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We had this like stream in December. It was after the first open beta test for Wilds, and the dev team was basically like, we want to hear all the feedback and like let's talk through it, and like we want to say how we're going to address it. And like
Oh,
they came
wow.
to us for that, and like they, went to us as like the experts of like, hey, is this
Yeah.
the right thing to do, or like how do we feel about this? And we did a stream that basically like went through like point by point, like here's how we're addressing each of these things
Wow.
because we know they're community hot topics, and we're like, I'm still like shocked that happened because it was really cool.
Unheard of at
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
So there's no way,
Yeah.
the dev team is interested
Yeah.
into that level. Like they might be interested in like what are the broad stroke things that people are liking, not
like very
liking.
critical, very very
Yeah,
critical, so.
but like this is like let's like get into the weeds and really talk through what people are saying.
Yeah.
And also working on like specific ways to address it. Like that's pretty rare,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like even just like hanging out with the developers at like events and stuff, like we'll go to dinner and like we'll talk about like the game and like our perspectives on like the industry and things like that. And like I
Yeah.
love doing that. I love talking about that
Yeah.
stuff because like you can see like where we're coming from and like where the team is at, and
It's how you build trust and
yeah,
like foundation
yeah.
of like an actual relationship where
Yeah.
like we value your opinion because we've had this like we've built this trust with you, and that's something that takes like time to
Yeah.
do, and just being open to that is like it's hard for
Yeah.
a lot of Japanese companies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I found the most success at Nintendo was like building really good relationships with the people in, like on the teams in Japan. So like even though we didn't get to work with the developers, like the actual like marketing folks. who
Yeah,
are,
they're
like,
so good too.
yeah. It was really good to like put faces to the names and like build relationships
Yeah.
with them so that they trusted like the things that we wanted to do, and that's how
Exactly.
I found success over there. So
Yeah.
try to bring that into Capcom too, but it's like obviously you just get so much more like direct
Yeah.
interaction with them.
We were talking about this recently. It's like it must be really hard for the people that are newer at Nintendo these days because like basically 80% of the marketing team left when the office
Right,
closed.
yeah.
And a lot of those people had a lot of tenure, like 10 plus years at the company. And they've spent those 10 years building those relationships and gaining that trust. And now you have a whole new team that's come in. You're going to be, launching a new hardware. and you don't have that relationship anymore. Like that must be, I don't even know how they're doing it, honestly. Like that's so hard. Like how are you getting anything done when no one knows who you are and no one trusts or cares about you? So it's like, how's that actually happening?
Yeah, it's just like the institutional knowledge is so important.
Yep.
So I'm sure like a lot of like new like rules and things like have to be figured out by the team. So it's not like the easiest job, but hopefully they're handling it well.
Yeah.
What's your take as a Capcom guy? And this is, a lot of people have pointed this out. Just like this really great run of successful launches and just overall business success that Capcom has had this generation. Like, what led to this?
I think it's with a lot of like Japanese developers right now, a lot of publishers. I think like Sega Atlas is on a really good stretch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like obviously like From Software and like Bandai Namco. I think a lot of it is like if you think about like the way like Western AAA gaming has like evolved, a lot of people have either left companies or they've gone to other tech companies or anything, maybe just bounced out of gaming completely, and obviously
Or they've gotten horribly laid off.
Yeah, there's so much of that. Whereas like with these Japanese companies, they all run historically extremely lean, as we know, but people stay for super long.
Yeah.
Like they stay for 20, 30 years, like they'll spend their whole career at one place. And that knowledge just gets like passed down from like person to person. So like they get to learn from like, the successes and the mistakes of the past people, and like a lot of those like core tenets of each game like get to like basically live on and like continue to grow. I won't use Capcom examples because it's too like is that too like self-serving, I guess. But like games I'm playing recently, like Metaphor. That's built on like all this history of like people who worked on Persona, right? So it's like they have all this learnings from evolving that franchise and evolving like the gameplay, and like then it culminates in something that's like, here's all of that like in this really great game. And like I look at something like FF7 Rebirth, which like they said they kept the same team from the previous game, and like again, that's all those learnings from team to team, like continue to build upon it. But it's like it's so hard to like do that with new people, like with new teams, and like
it's
not
always
taking
so much
those
you can
learnings.
learn too. It's like you have to like live this experience to be able to like put it into the next thing almost. I mean, yes, you can teach somebody that, but to like a certain degree, and it's hard when you don't have that kind of like historical knowledge. So yeah, I think you're right. It's incredibly stable, definitely on the dev side on in Japanese publishers. So it's you have a lot of that like instilled knowledge that just like you don't have to worry about like not having someone there that knew what happened 10 years ago. Someone's going to be there.
Yeah.
We talked about a few weeks ago, there was an interview with, I think, the head of Sega, and he was talking about how, like, globally, there's just an appreciation for the types of games that Japanese studios are putting out versus them trying to, like, chase some trend that's not their expertise. He's like, hey, we're never going to be great at making shooters, but we tried to make shooters in kind of the 2010s to fit into the market, and it didn't work. Like, when I worked at Konami, I worked on a terrible first-person shooter called Coded Arms, and it was like, this is not what Konami does best. And I think every Japanese company had a moment of that, where we're now just like, no, we're going to make the best, biggest, greatest Monster Hunter game we can, and like, there's a comfort that like, oh, there actually is an audience for this globally.
Yeah, I love seeing like with Wilds, like the people who have been there since the beginning. Of just like, I remember when this was a niche franchise and I had to beg my friends to play it on 3DS or on PSP.
I have a lot of new friends playing Monster Hunter. This is their first Monster Hunter game. And they're in the menus with me and like they're looking at the map and they're like, this weekend we were hunting together, they were like, why are there numbers on the map? I was like, gather around, children. Let me tell you about back in the day when we had monsters in different zones and we had to change the loading screen. And then, you got to zone 5, but they already left zone 5, so now you got to go to zone 8.
Got to hit them with the paintball.
And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, you're so spoiled.
It's a lot better now.
You don't know. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, they have that, like, foundation that now they can, like, build upon, And now this game is so amazing and, like, like, huge and modern and next gen. But they built it on this, like, foundation. So, yeah.
I mean, we got that question, too, of, like, why did Monster Hunter break out now? And we talked about how, just the visibility that we had into Capcom having that consistency in this market of like, no, this is a great game. We're going to keep pushing it. If this is not the one, we'll do it again with the next one because we believe in this. And the games were just super high quality, and slowly the audience grew and grew. And I think there's a lot of reasons why this one exploded in that way. Is that your take on it as well?
Yeah, I think so. This like the team's like unwavering confidence
Right.
that like this like formula.
This is good.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. We just need to spread it to like convert
Right.
more people to like the Monster Hunter philosophy.
Because a lot of companies would have bailed out.
I think so,
like many
yeah.
entries ago.
Yeah,
Like, oh, it
yeah.
just isn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helped that it was so big in Japan, but it's just like, how do we like take this excitement in Japan and
Right.
bring it to the rest of the world? I think, from my personal opinion, like I think games like Dark Souls, like obviously like changed how people perceive like melee action games. It's like, oh, something can have like a little bit of complexity and challenge and like not be like the most like convenient thing to play like right when you play it. But then when you have that moment that clicks, you're like, oh,
This
I get
is so
it.
satisfying.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. Yeah. I think, too, like these kinds of games, it's really the community that comes up around it that makes it really fun, especially Monster Hunter, where it is like a very multiplayer, like, you have this built-in need to talk to other people
Yeah,
and learn from
yeah.
other people and like get them to help you and stuff like that. So that's I think that's really helped the game too as well. And I will say that it's ironic that a game that is about violently killing monsters has maybe the most friendly community. Maybe you disagree. I don't know. You're dealing with the community.
Joe's staring off into
Joe's
the
like,
distance
I don't
again.
know about this. But I think these people are very helpful.
Yeah.
Like they're good. Like they're better than Pokemon.
That's always
fans.
been the reputation, yeah.
I think it's because, like we're saying, like Monster Hunter comes from this thing where people were just begging their friends to play
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And, like now that it's become big, it's like that's still at the heart of it. Of just like people are just like they want you to play their game that they love so much. And now it's like getting even more granular. It's just like I'm obsessed with the longsword. Like I need to
let me
tell
tell you everything
Yeah,
about
right.
this one particular weapon or this one particular whatever. But the community does seem very helpful to new people.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do think that. Like even in our own community, like we started, of course, like a Kit and Krysta squad, and we have like the Discord is open. There are people that are like long-time Monster Hunter players that are in there, like helping the new people, the people that are like first Monster Hunter game. I mean, they're getting like the help from these people. I'm like, this is very cute to see. I like this,
Yeah. And the creator community is really good too. Like there's so many
Yeah.
useful guides. Like
Yes.
I've learned by watching
Oh,
people's
yeah.
Weapon
guides.
guide,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
all
like
that stuff.
obsessively watching guides right now because I need to understand. Now I'm in
like,
like
you can do
the Hunter Plus ranks
Yeah.
because I'm finished with the main story. Now I'm like, I need the guides. I need to
Yeah.
learn everything.
The other thing we were talking about, and I'd love to hear you add more to this, is like, and this is for Capcom overall and this game in particular, just like the new commitment that Capcom has to the PC audience in particular. It just seems like, we've just unlocked this new chunk of the market that maybe we were not fully going into before.
Yeah, this PC gaming is just like so huge right now. Like I think games are big, they're expensive to make, and like you're even seeing like first parties like put their games on PC. It's such like a big market like outside of just the U.S. Like it's really global. So there's so many people who play on like all sorts of like range of hardware. So it's been cool. It's also been like a little bit new for me too, like coming from like console background and then like the Steam and like how everything functions on there.
It's
There's
really
like,
different. Yeah.
Like even just like the way their tools work on the store, it's like it's all like self-service stuff. Like
Yeah.
you want to like post a blog, you just do it yourself. You don't
I
have to, like,
learned
go to
I
the
learned that the hard way too. Like when we were working with some indie devs, like learning how to do the Steam backend. So I'm like, you just do it yourself.
Just do it.
Yeah, you just do it.
They just have these guides on how you do it yourself. It's like, oh wow, this is crazy. Like it's just so open, but also kind of scary. Yeah.
One of our Kit and Krysta hunters, Kyle LaBeouf, has a question for you. Monster Hunter Wilds is my first real foray into the world of Monster Hunter, and I'm hooked. Any tips for a first-time hunter that you can share? Also, what are your go-to weapon loadouts?
Ooh, okay. So first time tips, definitely mess around with your radial menu. So like by default, now it's a really nice feature that it like kind of heals, or it'll choose like the potion that like heals you at like the appropriate amount. But once you get into high rank, that can kind of be a trap a little bit.
Yep.
So I definitely recommend that you make your own custom
You can
radial
customize
menu.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and put mega potions on there and max potions because you never know when you're like in a very dire need.
Breath away from dying.
Yeah, and you need to be like topped off because like if you're just like slightly you'll
get poisoned or on fire and then you're just gone. Yeah.
Yeah. My go-to weapon loadout. I like the big hitting weapon, so I'm actually carrying 2 hammers right now. Which is that's our lead producer Ryozo-san. He takes 2 hammers too, which is funny because they designed like the system to carry 2 weapons. And he's like 2 hammers.
Wow.
What are some of the
What's
different
difference between
strategies you have seen with the second weapon? Because I think that's something we're still trying to figure out a little bit.
So basically, if you're using element, like say you have like one weapon that is like paralysis and like another one's a different element. The more you hit that like the monster with one element, it becomes more resistant to it. So you actually want to switch. It's actually useful to switch.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's why you have 2 hammers. You have 2 different elements.
Yeah.
on
Just
that
switching
hammer.
off. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I have one that's like sleep, so it puts the monster to sleep, and one that's paralysis.
Oh, I like this.
But when
This is
you're in
interesting.
multiplayer, people don't care if the monster is asleep. They're just going ham. They're just going crazy.
Right.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I can't use that one if I'm playing multiplayer. So
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
using that. You're being more strategic when you're playing single player, so you can like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
game the monster a little bit. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, right now I was thinking about just switching. 'Cause I had bow and dual blades. I think Kyle is actually a dual blades player because I played with Kyle
Yes.
a couple of nights,
Yeah.
and we were trading some dual blade tips. That's a pretty easy weapon for a first timer because you just kind of your whole job is to just hit as fast
And
as
dodge,
possible
yeah.
dodge. And the perfect dodge on this is really slick.
Yeah.
And then your hunter glows and you can
Yeah,
do
you
it like
turn
multiple
blue,
times.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so cool. So yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. But any other like weapons that you would say is good for first timers?
Or stayaways.
Or yes,
Like this is maybe a
Insect
bit much for a
maybe
first
stay
time.
away.
Yeah. Charge blade is pretty
Charge blade is hard.
complicated.
Yeah.
I think switch axe is
switch
is a good middle ground of like
Oh.
complexity and like looking cool and like press buttons and cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
Sword and shield, I know my counterpart in Europe, Jono, he loves sword and shield. Like he like if you ask him about it, he'll just like talk for forever. So I mean, it's a great starter weapon, but like if you really want to master it, like there's just so many good
It's, like,
mechanics.
deep. Yeah.
Great sword, I like a lot. I am like historically a great sword main because it's like unga bunga, like stare at monster, big damage number, it dies, like simple
but slow.
but slow. Which like historically, like in the past, like some people try greatsword for their first weapon, they're like, why is it so clunky? It's like, oh, hold on. I like greatsword in this game because it has the mechanics for like all of the new mechanics like on one weapon, like the perfect block where you're like the power clash with the guard. It has like that offset attack, so like if you use it like right when the monster is hitting you, it does like that big like pushback. Which looks really cool. Yeah, so it's a good starter weapon, but it does take a little bit of adjustment.
Yeah. You're still using.
Is there any praise you can give me as a Lance player?
Lance player?
It is the favorite weapon of one of the art director,
There we
the
go.
executive producer, and it's a wall.
That's right.
Yeah,
Nothing can
we
get
were
past
playing
it.
together, and I had taken like 16 potions, and he was like, I haven't been hit yet.
I haven't taken any damage.
You haven't taken
poking.
it, just poking from behind the
She
shield
was
and
like
block.
very
block,
defensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I
like
was
that.
flying around, flying around.
We're going to come back to Monster Hunter and the games we're playing. One more question for you to wrap up this discussion, which is a bit trivia about you, is you are a big eater. Kind of sometimes bordering on like, would you say you're a competitive eater?
Maybe back in the day when we
What is-
worked together.
What
but-
is your biggest recent food adventure?
So in the past, like this is basically like how I live my life, I guess.
To the extreme.
I basically like I'm like a notorious faster. Like I'll like not eat anything for like a whole day, but then when I have like an epic meal, it's epic. And so I would do that quite a bit when we go on like work trips and stuff. But these days, like getting older, my body can't take it.
Your body can't take it,
But occasionally I still do it.
Like you put down like some incredibly large amounts of food.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen you eat like 2 steaks. in one
Yeah,
sitting?
yeah. Well, I'm trying to remember when was that.
It was at PAX, I think. I was
Yeah,
like,
I ate
Or somebody
else's
was
steak.
discarding
You,
steak.
that's right. You
Yeah.
ate somebody else's discarded steak.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, oh, you easily put that away.
Yeah, I'm
It was
Filipino.
like
I can't like let food like just get thrown away. You know,
Your mom
like,
would be
it's-
so
yeah.
upset with you.
Yeah.
if that happened.
So one recent one was, I guess, yeah, it's like half a year ago now. My last birthday, my wife surprised me with $100 of Taco Bell,
That's a lot of Taco
and
Bell.
we're just like, how could you spend $100 at Taco Bell? I have a picture, so maybe I could share it. You guys can put it
I
on
love
the
that,
screen.
yes.
But yeah, that was the most recent.
Do you
one.
eat it all?
Well, some of it was shared, but I
Yeah.
could not eat all
Okay.
$100.
People, the ace places of the world, the all-you-can-eat buffets of the world, would rue the day that you walk through the doors.
I did go to a Korean barbecue.
I was gonna say, like,
yeah,
Korean barbecue plate, hot pot,
yeah,
Vegas
yeah.
buffets. Rue the day this
Yeah.
man walks through your door. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
the place where we moved to, there's actually like a lot of locations, and that was one of the reasons why
You're like,
I really wanted to move out there.
I can
so I'm
eat
like,
this.
Yeah, these are my spots.
Then the next time you go to Vegas, you gotta go to that place with the king crab and just put away like.
Oh yeah, didn't we go? We went to
Yeah, we
the
did
Bacchanal,
when we were at Evo, I think.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Debauchery.
We ate a lot of crab
Yeah.
legs. King crab.
Yeah, I think
Got your money's worth.
I think I hyped up too. I was like, you're gonna see something special.
I was like, I was done, but I was still watching. I was like, oh,
Putting on a show.
it's still happening. It's good though. It made it worth it. Made it worth the time.
Well, let's just move on to the games we're playing, and let's go back to Monster Hunter. So you joined our squad very graciously. We were shocked at how high your hunter rank was. You've since been surpassed by some people.
Yeah,
though.
so I actually have 2 accounts. So,
Oh, okay.
so maybe I
here we
should join
go.
you guys with my other my PlayStation account because
Okay.
yeah, I'm like at 80 on like both of them.
But you started. You got a head start.
I did.
A
yeah.
little bit of
yeah.
a head start.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. I do think that after you beat this main story, your hunter rank does go up pretty like. Oh, it's not like
yeah.
super slow. You're not like
Yeah.
grinding forever. It's like it is going up.
Yeah, I feel like it is like maybe a little faster, about the same rate as the previous games.
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
kind of feels like faster. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
It feels very like
Yeah.
like I'm moving along at a pretty good clip. But
Can you talk about kind of the dev team's interest in the story for this game in particular? Because I think that's something where we've seen some mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, so if you think back to like Monster Hunter World, there was a pretty extensive story in the game, but the story in this game is really based on like where we see like blockers, where people kind of like they got stuck on a certain quest, or there was a monster in particular that like I think the one in particular that we always think about is like there's a pink Rathian quest where you like have to get the tracks, and we just see a lot of players like drop off at that point. Ultimately, like the goal with the game is like let's get people to see all of like the content and then get them into the end game where that's where to continue to build and layer
Right.
things on top because this game's just like gonna have a lot of updates. It's gonna continue to grow, and we want people to like enjoy like that. That's like the true experience, right? But getting there is so crucial. So the story was really meant to be like let's introduce people to Monster Hunter and like an experience that like they can play from start to finish without like being halfway through and just like I don't know, maybe it's not for me, or like
Yeah.
I don't get this game, or like it just doesn't feel satisfying because they can't finish it. So
Yeah.
hopefully, like I've been seeing it a lot too of people who have bounced off in the past that are now making it to the end, and they're like, oh, like I finished the story and now I get to do all this high rank stuff. The game's opening up, and
Yeah.
like I get it now. I get the loop.
Oh,
get
totally.
to experience the end
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
Are you Team Gemma or Team Alma? Because I don't know if you're aware, but you do have to choose.
There's a right answer.
I like Alma.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
too, yeah.
Oh, you do too. Wow.
like
It's a
that.
sweet for Alma.
Alma looks like Stephanie
Amazing.
Polaris, which is one of our good friends.
Yeah.
She worked at
And
Who
also
Capcom.
worked on
former-
Monster Hunter?
Worked at
Capcom person,
Capcom.
yeah.
Amazing.
And she's not at Nintendo. And I'm like, this has got to be her. This has got to be her. It looks exactly. I put her picture next to Alma, and I was like, dang, that is her. It's
Yeah,
so
let's show
amazing.
that
That's
up.
close.
It's insane. It's insane. It's amazing. I love it. I love it.
So
Yeah.
what are you getting up to in the game now that you're, leagues ahead of the rest of us?
I've mostly been trying to like grind the Artian weapons, which is like the endgame mechanic of like really trying to like get the perfect like roll on your weapon. So I've been working on that, and also just like helping people. I've like joining SOS like just
Oh,
trying to,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
help
You were
people.
That's a fun
scared
thing
of
to do.
that. You were
I
like,
didn't want to do that in the review period because it's like somebody who's like really an expert is going to come show up and it's like, this noob, needing this help now? What a loser.
extra life is coming.
It's like, I'm not doing
you
this now.
suck.
Yeah.
I'll tough it out myself.
Aw.
Yeah, and I have like, you know, I have some friends and like my brother has been playing the game
Yeah.
and like trying to like help them, but now they're actually getting to a point where they're like
They don't
playing
need you
more than
anymore?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need me
They don't need you
anymore.
anymore.
Like one of my
Yeah.
friends is like further than me on hunter rank, and I'm just like, we did it.
My job is done. My
Yeah,
job
yeah.
is you're going to college now.
Yeah.
I raised you well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's fun to see.
Yeah, it's been fun to be in the squad. Like that's the server that I join every night when I play. And I'll just see what people are up to. Like I'm still working on my own like post game stuff. Like I want to like rank up a lot more, but it's kind of cool just to like dabble around in there. And there's like a mix of players. Like there's some people that are like way expert at this.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see them helping other people, and there's definitely like lots of new people in there too. So it's kind of nice to like just if I see someone doing like a story quest monster, I'll like pop in to help
Yeah,
them and
one shot it with your
help
game gear.
them get through. Yeah, exactly. You got helped out by somebody on our
I did.
in your final boss
That was great.
for the
Very helpful.
main
Oh,
game.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that was
did.
nice. Yeah.
You talked about there's a update, the first kind of big updates coming soonish.
Yes, so we said early April for free title update 1, which
Nice.
will bring Mizitsune. I don't know if you know the monster. It's like a
love-
bubble leviathan.
I grinded that monster so much because I wanted the beautiful like Japanese cherry
yeah.
blossom outfit from it last time, and I was like obsessively trying to get that one. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. We've also said there's two other things coming in the update. So there, as you guys know, there's like tempered monsters in the game, which is like kind of like the currently like the hardest like.
Are
fight
those
that
like
you
the
can-
zombie looking ones?
No, that's the frenzied monster.
Oh,
So
frenzied,
the tempered
okay.
ones are like they have scars on them, and it's just like that's like
Oh,
that's
they've-
one that's been around.
They've
Battle
been
hardened.
through a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
So we are going to add a like level above that, above tempered. So for everybody that's like looking for
Like the extra
additional
challenge.
challenge,
Yeah.
and then we are adding like another like area where people can kind of like hang out and like more of like a social area.
I'm
Oh
excited
yeah,
for that.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's like been really demanded. So
Yeah.
and people have a lot of questions about it, like like what actually is it?
Yeah.
It's really cool. So
Okay,
yeah,
I'm excited about it. 'Cause I remember that was in some of the previous games where you could like go. It's like it definitely feels like sort of this like hub world kind of thing. So that would be nice because I think once you're done with all of your like story stuff, you just want a place to like gather before you
yeah,
hunt and
because
stuff.
the game's
so.
like really about like exploring this new land and like camping and stuff,
Yeah.
like kind of that vibe. So now that like once people have like had some time to experience it, then they have this like new area
Oh,
that
cool.
hopefully like brings it together a little bit.
Yeah.
Anything you recommend people do, again, once you get past the story and you can kind of explore these lands more freely? Like, I think sometimes people get locked in just go, chase these monsters. Like, in these big areas, is there anything you recommend people do that maybe is not like, oh yeah, I should go do that, but it's very rewarding?
The side quests, I know people are like getting really into the fishing, which is
Yeah.
a trophy for catching 30 whoppers.
Oh my gosh.
So like catching even one is somewhat
hard,
challenging.
yeah.
So I recommend that. I find like the fishing to be pretty relaxing, but sometimes I do get like I don't have patience for this.
Yeah.
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 This environment link stuff is like we haven't tried that one yet, but I want to try that one next because that's the one where you can just like sort of wander around with somebody else, right?
Yeah. So we kind of think about like I don't know if you played a Monster Hunter World. There was like this guiding lands. Basically,
yeah.
you just like hunt like in the open world like nonstop.
Yeah, I think that would
with
be
no
fun.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically similar to that, where you kind of just like you can be in the same instance together and just like go from hunt to hunt and just go like the whole time. So
Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna try that next because we've been doing like the more quest-based like monster, just like taking down different
just
monsters.
one at a time.
Yeah, but just kind of wandering around and seeing the monsters just like in the wild and then doing whatever, and even like collecting stuff. It could be kind of fun to do with somebody else, right? So
Anything else you want to get off on this game before we move to the next game?
hype man.
No, it's been so cool like seeing people get introduced to the series. I think we announced last week like we hit 8 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, that's
And like
amazing.
we had like a crazy Steam concurrent count, which is really
Yeah,
cool. Which is
yeah.
like I know people like always get kind of weird about like tracking that number.
Right.
But it's like one of the few public data points that we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
like people can like point out and be like, oh, a lot of people are playing this game.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been great. I mean, obviously, I think that, there's some things that community's brought up that we're taking a close look at, and we're
Yeah.
like doing our best to like kind of collate all the feedback and make sure like that's being serviced to the dev team. So like we hear the community and we're doing our best. But yeah, it's like, the success of the game is amazing, but also we know there's a lot of work to do. So
Yeah.
You're gonna be doing this.
You'll be doing this for a
long time.
Yeah. That's good because I want to play this game for a long
Yeah.
time. So I think a lot of people are excited about like the continued support. So yeah.
You said you had some other games that you've been playing in your non-Monster Hunter time?
Yeah, I'm still trying to make my way through FF7 Rebirth. Which is just a behemoth.
A year later?
Huge game.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Are
like
you doing all the
slowly
side
top
stuff in that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you
that's
playing
why.
Queen's Blood nonstop?
That's why.
Yeah.
I like Queen's Blood.
Because I don't think I can like let it go without like clearing each.
Are you a big completionist?
No,
Not really,
not
right?
really,
Yeah.
not
It's fun
really.
just to
But
be a
like,
huge computer.
I think if the game, I really like it.
The game
Okay.
world, you
Yeah.
want to be in that world.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
I'm trying to like work through the like each time the new levels drop in Astrobot. I've been playing those. So,
Oh yeah.
they're really short and like breezy, which I like because it's just like
Yes.
spending like 70 hours in Monster Hunter, whatever,
Yeah.
like a week,
Yeah.
and then going
It's
to like
easy to
something
pop
really
over
light.
to that.
Yeah,
I did the
yeah.
Christmas level and I did the first one they dropped in that 4 level update, but I haven't played the other 3. I think they dropped another one recently.
Yeah.
So
They've
there's-
been doing them like weekly, I think.
Yeah, I think there's 4 total, but there's maybe 2 that dropped.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I need to do the second one then because I do the same thing. I just like pop in.
Yeah, it's like so short. It's like you
It's
finish
so
it in like
cute.
a minute, but they're
yeah,
really cute.
It's a fun little interstitial to your big chunky games. Yeah.
This is a random thought. Were you on the pro Shenmue contingent in the office?
Oh yeah.
Were you a part of that?
No, I think
No, that was
I think
Anthony.
I think I was a hater.
But
yeah.
you were the pro Balan Wonder.
No, wait,
No.
no, wait,
You
hold
had
on, hold
something
on.
about that.
No,
No,
that was
no.
not
Trying
him
to think
either.
of some of your dubious
That was
gaming
somebody
takes over the
else.
years.
I was a hater.
No, the Shenmue one was all Anthony.
That was Anthony.
Anthony was
Yeah.
a solo Shenmue
But you were an
lover.
enabler on that.
On Shenmue?
I feel like you
I was
were.
so against him because it was fun to just like kind of take the wind out of it.
Antagonize
So,
him.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like, hey, now it looks like trash.
I can't believe you confused him to be a.
Well, I remember we made a bet of like on the Metacritic score, and I was like, you need to go
That's right,
lower.
that's right, yeah.
There's you can go a lot lower
you
on
were
that.
super low. You were like 40%.
Yeah.
Or something.
No,
I was
it's
like,
not
I was like, it's like a
40%.
solid 60 or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Which
yeah.
60 is horrible,
Yeah.
but
No game gets lower than 60
No.
these days.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So where are you in Final Fantasy now?
I just passed the part with like, what was it, like all the mini games in like the beach town. I can't remember the name.
Oh, so you're still very early.
Yeah.
Oh my
I think I
gosh.
just got Yuffie and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm just really like
wow.
spending
You're
a lot
really
of time
spending
in
a
each
lot of
area.
time,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that area is a nice vibe.
Yeah.
It's a vacation vibe.
Why don't we talk about split fiction a little bit? That
Yes.
we mentioned at the top. So yeah, we have kind of an interesting history with these types of games where we did not love It Takes Two.
No.
But it was mostly due to kind of setting,
Story
look thing. It wasn't. We honestly didn't get that deep into the game, but we're really
we were still turned
turned off by the rest of it.
What was it? It was just like the art style, like just.
The art style was okay. It was actually just like the weird, like cheesy story.
It was like a family divorce story that was
right.
delivered in
Yeah.
kind of an awkward
in an
way.
awkward way.
And then they became these kind of like creepy toy.
they were like they were like dolls in
I'm
therapy.
remembering it now. Okay.
It was,
was
like,
like-
a doll where your therapist is like point to
This
where
has
the
some
person inappropriately
Yeah,
touched
yeah.
you,
Weird like
that.
Five Nights at Freddy's
Yeah.
meets something else.
I was
weird.
really
like,
turned off by
I
that
just don't-
too.
I just don't
remember.
like this.
Yeah.
So I'd say this is kind of our first big foray into this studio's game. I think they just announced that this game sold 1 million copies in the
did, yeah.
first
Wow.
2 days, which
That's
is
amazing.
very impressive.
yeah.
I was very impressed with this game.
Yes, I thought that, like in terms of it being like built for co-op play, like it is so they thought of everything to make it a smooth co-op experience. Like the gameplay itself is really fun. You do feel very like you're needed to, you are needed to do your job as one player, and you need the other person to do their
Right.
job as the other player. Like the things that you're doing that you're responsible for are different, but you like really do have to work together. But it feels very smooth. Like you don't run into things like we were testing this out. Like for example, we were on this like very narrow platforming thing. And like you don't run into each other.
You don't
and,
bump
like,
into
you don't,
each
like, knock-
other.
you just
Yeah.
kind of like go through each other in a very
Yeah.
slick way.
It's a very snappy game. Like
Yes.
the pacing, it's like always just like boom, boom, boom. You're never doing any one thing for too long. I was
Right.
thinking about this like how many individual things do you think you're doing in this game? It's like probably less than 10. It's like platforming, shooting,
Yep.
vehicles. There's a lot of slides.
Slides, yeah.
Some puzzles, and they just kind of
layer.
very smartly rotate among those things in a way that it doesn't, like, it never outstays its welcome.
Yeah.
And you're kind of just moving on to the next thing. And I think the characters are fun. I think the you know, they both have good, unique personalities. I think the story is, I'm curious about where it's going. You know,
Right.
you're kind of these two aspiring authors, and you come into this kind of like evil megacorp, like Amazon-y kind of thing, and they put you in these like weird like VR bubbles with their goal is to like extract the ideas from these unpublished authors, but they're like, oh, this is your big chance to hit it big,
to get published or whatever.
right? And somehow they both end up in the same bubble, which is how they go on this adventure. And like one of them is more fantasy themed, one of them is more sci-fi themed.
So you kind of switch between the two different styles. So you're doing
Yeah.
like, I think we've done probably a little bit more sci-fi than we've done
Yes.
fantasy,
Yeah,
but
so
the sci-fi
far.
part is really well done. Like,
Yeah.
kind of has like a very like Blade Runner. The game looks really beautiful. Has like that kind of vibe, and you're doing like some, you know, really cool stuff. Like you had a big sort of like a sword weapon.
Yeah, there are some parts where like the two characters can do different things.
Yeah, like attacks and
So
stuff
I had a
like
sword
that.
and you had like a whip.
Yes.
Where you could kind of move things around the environment.
You were like changing gravity.
Right,
your
right.
character
That was kind of a tricky
Yeah.
mechanic to completely
And then we
figure
turned
out.
into pigs,
That was unexpected. That was really fun.
and that was really
that
fun.
That may be high on the list for best moment when it comes time to
Yeah.
do the Game of the Year
I just
stuff.
was like so confused because we went into this like instance where you were more in the fantasy realm, and it was basically the story of like the three little pigs, like that, you know, very traditional fairy tale. But you play as the pigs, and it's very cute,
Right.
and also kind of gross. There's like poop everywhere.
farting.
Yeah, and then you turn into
Yeah.
hot dogs.
And you cook yourself.
I need to play
Cook
this.
yourself. It was like the
yourself.
whole
Yeah.
thing was just like I had to
Oh,
put
boy.
ketchup on Kit as a hot dog, and then we were
Yeah.
in the bun. It was very strange, but I liked it a
Yeah.
lot.
So we played it together split screen, but you can play it online. There is no sync. You cannot play this game by yourself, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
But only one person needs it.
Yeah, it has a thing where
Right,
like,
you can get
You
like
can download play it.
a dummy
basically.
version of it for playing online that doesn't cost anything. It just feels like a very un-EA game overall.
Yeah.
For them to be, you know, putting this out is just like so fundamentally different from how they approach a lot of their other games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy with it.
I want to play it more.
I want to find.
I kind of want to beat it. I don't think it's that long.
I don't think it's.
It's
super
like
long
10,
either.
12 hours
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I like really want to get to the end of this game. Like I'm pretty hooked on it. I
Yeah.
was thinking about it a lot this weekend. I was like, I kind of want to play more.
That was
like
fun, yeah.
it was really fun.
This is Joseph Ferris's
Oh,
video
yeah.
Yes.
of the famous
Haze
Oscar
Heights,
Right,
yes.
right.
quote.
Yeah.
What is his issue with the Oscars? What is his issue?
Oh, he had an
Why
issue
does he?
with the Oscars.
Is he's like an aspiring filmmaker,
I think he was a filmmaker, right?
and he
Or-
couldn't
he can cut it.
couldn't cut it. Now he does like what?
I feel
What's the
like
backstory?
He actually made like cool movies. I just don't
Okay.
like remember.
Oh, we should look this up.
Yeah,
we should
we
have a
should look it
Joseph Ferris.
Okay, well he's
movie
having
night.
a moment, so
Yeah.
congratulations for him.
That guy has cooked in like what 4 games now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like all of them are good.
They're all really good. Yeah.
Some of them are Game of the Year, like
Yeah,
TGA Game of the Year winners,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah, we were trying to figure out like, is that persona that he has,
What
like,
do you
is
think?
that an act or is that who he really? Because
I think
again,
it's him.
this game also
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
very like softer kind
Very
of feel
soft.
to it, like
Yeah.
more emotionally
Yeah,
driven.
yeah.
Versus like the bombast and like these could have been hot babes and oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
they're
like,
it's very
it's
like
really not.
sweet.
Yeah,
It's a very
yeah.
sweet, like a friendship story, very like kind of like wholesome almost.
Yeah.
And I didn't seem to fit his persona, so that's why I was thinking like, is he putting on some sort of like macho man act,
Yeah.
going on stage and cursing and being, out there? But
Yeah.
maybe not. You don't think so? You
I think he said it's
him.
like based on his daughters or something.
Right,
Like
Yeah.
right.
his son daughters is really cool.
He's a girl dad.
Yeah,
He can't be
yeah.
that bad, right?
All right. This last entry is going to be controversial. This conversation. So so we do a monthly spoiler cast. Our spoiler cast for March is Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We did in January did Metroid Prime, which led to Super Metroid, and then we're on the Metroidvania kick. So we went to Symphony of the Night.
Okay.
This is our one track mind.
Yeah.
I played this in the late 90s,
Yeah,
kind of in the
97 is
moment.
when it came out,
I don't
yeah.
think I've gone back to it in a significant way since. So it's been a
Have you played
long
this game?
time.
I have, yeah, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long
Okay.
time.
Did you play it back in the day, like in the moment?
PS1.
No,
You might have been a baby.
I think
so.
I think by the time I got to it is when it first went onto Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so that was
The 360
the
version,
2000s
yes.
then. You were
Yeah.
in the 2000s
Yeah.
when you played it. Yeah.
You have
I've never played
not
this game.
played a Castlevania game?
I have not really played a Castlevania.
Oh, you played that fake 3DS one.
The fake 3DS one.
Get that out of here.
The fake
that
3DS
Mercury
one.
Steam nonsense.
Yes, that one. I didn't really
Stick
love
to
I
Metroid.
didn't really
Mirror
love
Fate or something. Yeah.
I didn't really love that one actually.
No.
It was kind of weird. So it's my first time playing like a true, like Konami Iga Castlevania game, I guess.
Right.
Igavania.
Exactly. He's a glass of wine and he's excited.
So you kind of immediately had some major problems
I had
with
some
this game.
major issues.
Like major.
Do you not remember having any issues when you first played this game?
Oh no, it has aged. But like, what's the issue?
Yeah, what exactly is the issue?
It just did not click for me. Like I was really confused by like the movement. The first and foremost thing that I noticed that was like strange to me was like how it's not snappy and not. Very. Unless you backdash.
Oh yeah, I love
just,
the.
I mean, he's not
backdash.
super fast, but I mean, he's running down the hall.
But it's not running. It's like running in water.
Yeah.
But
he has like a.
As
really,
you described it, you just seem to be running into enemies nonstop. So
Well, it's not.
Where
it
did
was like
this issue come
the
into
movement
play?
of him walking in slow motion and jumping in slow motion caused me to be attacked and like unable
You have
to
a weapon.
defend myself.
You have a weapon.
The weapon reach was weird. Like I just something about the mechanics was like super bizarre to me. I was like, I don't understand how the the physics of this game is moving. I don't get it. And I had a really hard. I was dying like 20 times a play session. Like I would play for like an hour and I would die 20 times in an hour.
Oh man.
Like it was bad.
So this upset me because the week before we had filmed a video of her beating the final boss of the Elden Ring DLC. So it's like it's not like you're incapable of playing a hard game. And actually,
Yeah,
as far
consort.
as Castlevania games go, like there's the classic Vania, which are the games before this.
like Rondo of Bloodvania.
Like those
that's
are
really hard,
actually like
yeah.
really hard
Yeah.
and kind of cheap. Whereas like this I think is like a much more even keeled approach
Yeah,
to
I agree.
difficulty.
I agree.
So I just didn't understand what was happening.
Well, first of all, this is not Elden Ring. This is a
No, it
2D
isn't.
You've climbed the summit.
No, it
though.
isn't.
That is like the
Yeah.
hardest boss I've ever fought. So you can do anything.
So when she says,
don't
"Oh, it's too
know.
hard," it falls on deaf ears. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Throw that out the window.
And then he got really mad at me because I was like, "How do I get the map?"
Okay, that's when I kind of lost it because it's like,
yeah.
there's a map in this game.
I thought it was like Metroid where you had to like find the map or like load in to
Yeah.
a
Oh,
map.
Oh, I can attack in this game? What? Oh, I can jump?
This is what I have to do.
Oh, I can do something? What?
But finally I found the map. The map was very helpful. Press the middle button. Didn't know that. Okay.
Why would it not have a map?
I thought it was like Metroid. where you had to,
Metroid has a map too.
but you have to find the
you know
map
that?
in the certain areas.
But you can look at the map. You can press a button and look at the map.
No, but you had to unlock it. But the map rooms.
You still have a map.
I thought it was some sort of map room where I
Whatever.
like pick up a map.
Whatever.
And then the map
The
shows.
lack of curiosity is truly concerning. Of like, what does this button do?
gotta
Let me find
engage
out.
with the
Oh
game.
no, I don't need to know. I don't.
But then, now that I'm like halfway in, this game totally clicked.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm
There we go.
Now I'm kicking butt. Now I'm so good at this game. I just took down so many bosses. I'm really powerful. I have that sword that goes like really crazy fast.
Yeah.
That one, the
You just hold- you just hold it,
just
right?
hold it,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
just walk,
Yeah.
and it just like that. It was amazing. So now I'm really good at this game.
All right. I was worried that we were gonna have so. We
Famously.
did Brothership.
Did you play that game?
Mario and Luigi Brothership at the end of last year,
I know you did.
and it was an explosive spoiler catch. She hated that
hated that game.
I was like, are we gonna have to
I
have
wasted
is
50 hours of
Symphony of the Night worse than Brothership conversation, which would just ruin all credibility that you ever had
No, this
in
game
the
is-
world.
This game is amazing. I love this game now. But in the beginning, I was like, what is the deal with this game? Why is it so weird? I don't
It's all-time classic 10 out of 10.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was very
Forever
confused. I was very
candidate.
confused
Yes.
about this game in the beginning. I was like, I don't get it. But then we like started this channel in our community, and all these new people playing this game. Exactly.
Well, that is interesting that a number of people have spoken up with similar issues.
Someone else was like, "Where's the map?" I was like,
It has caused me
Happens
to
to
try
me.
and reflect on like why, and I still don't know because it's not like they don't make games like this
they
anymore.
don't.
They do.
Yeah. Well,
"Like what? Name
What?
one."
Like a Shovel Knight is almost even something like this, where you're
No,
like running,
really.
you got a weapon. It's a platformer with a weapon.
It's not the same.
I think there's just been
Hollow
so many,
Knight?
Yeah, Hollow Knight. There's been so many,
Hollow Knight.
I guess, like Metroidvanias that have kind of like have a little bit more quality of life in them while like still having the same gameplay. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe we got spoiled by the quality of life portions of
Yeah.
it.
Metroid Dread.
Snappier.
What's the
game-
difference?
Snappier
No, it's-
mechanics.
it is snappy.
Way
Yeah.
different. I
There-
totally
yeah.
Like the
disagree with
snappiness
you.
should have make that harder.
Yes.
Well, because
No, the snap, if you're zipping around.
No, the snapping makes it
running
easier because
into
you know
enemies.
exactly the point where you need to attack.
If it's going in slow motion, you should never get hit
No,
at all.
the timing is way off. I swing and the guy's like, and then I like, why didn't I swing a second earlier? I don't understand the timing of this. Is so weird.
Did you record a video playing this yet?
Not yet.
Okay, you should.
I was like,
Well, now it's too late.
I was like, you
Now
need
it's
to
too late.
screen. You should screen share with me because I think there's a fundamental issue that you were having about. After she said playing the map, I was like, anything's on the table.
You're playing on the laggiest TV
Yeah.
or something.
It's not.
There's a game mode on.
My TV is so good. I have a PS5.
I tried plugging my PS1 controller into the PS5 and nothing happened.
I was very confused by
Oh
the
my
mechanics.
God.
At least it all worked out, right?
It worked out because I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that I wasn't the only one because there's so many other people that are playing this for the first time. They're like, I don't get it. I'm like, yes, thank you. They're like, I don't know where the map is either, and I don't
Push
understand.
a button. Jeez.
Four other
Try
people
pushing
that
a
said the same.
button.
Four other
Literally
people
try
said the
push.
same
What's
thing.
the first thing you do when you play? What's this button do? What's this do? Let's find out.
Well, also, I'm playing on the Portal, and they don't have a middle button.
Well, that's your problem.
So it's like a little. You have to do that thing where you double tap the touch
I
screen
play on
and
the Portal
double
a lot
touch
too.
the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's a little bit.
I wish I
Don't
had
point at me with that.
Yeah.
That's a.
You should know. You should know your.
That's
You should
a
know
PlayStation
the
problem.
capability of the
Yeah.
hardware you're
PlayStation
playing
should
on.
have like done a little
Yeah.
bit
Should
better
know the
job with those. Middle
capabilities.
button is a little weird. Anyways,
You need that button a lot.
okay.
I'm gonna have to reassess my overall Castlevania rankings, and it's a good time to do it because I played all the DS ones, all the Game Boy Advance ones. So of all the, I have not played every Castlevania game. There's a few I missed, but I think of all the Egavanias I can do in the spoiler cast, a fresh ranking
Okay.
of this game.
We look forward to it.
Have you hit the big? We will not say what it is. There's a big surprise in this game. Have you gotten to it yet?
Not yet.
Sounds like no.
Okay.
I need an item first.
You need
before I
something
can-
for the thing to happen.
Yes, I need an item.
All
I know exactly what I need you to do though.
Do you know what happens?
I do know what happens.
Yeah.
Notorious.
Notorious, yeah.
You know that.
What? I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
It clicked for her. She's good now. She's good.
It's okay. I'm okay now. I'm okay now.
Let's move on to some news.
Ah, yes.
And Mario Day kind of came and went with a whimper.
Yeah.
That's today.
Literally today. March
March
10th.
10th.
See? March 10th.
You mean it's not Martin Day?
Martin.
You guys you've told that story, right? Like,
Have we?
Or just like people internally, they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, hey, happy Martin
I
Day.
need to speak to you
Martin
about
And I'm like,
Martin.
please
Martin.
stop.
Or the explanation we get every year from that one guy that's like, Mario Day is Mario Day because it's MAR and the 1 and the 0 makes Mario. I was like, yes, we know
Like,
that.
all of us are just like clenched fists, like,
But anyways, it is Mario
I mean,
Day.
we do have to come, honestly, because we did last week put out the slight possibility of like maybe there's something more like around the movie, around the 40th anniversary that they could kick off. None of that happened.
No, but they did some Lego stuff,
Couple
right?
things.
Couple
So
things.
they did reveal the Mario Kart Lego
I don't
set
like this. What do you think?
that is
The face
coming.
looks weird.
it's a little off.
It's a little off, yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming May 15th. It costs $170. It has
Oh.
1,900. So it's one of these big ones. It's like we got the big Bowser
Yeah.
over there. So it's like one of those sizes. They put out a trailer that looked a lot like the
Home Circuit.
Home Circuit, where it's
Yeah.
like from the perspective.
I was thinking about that
zipping
too.
around. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the best
Dang,
thing
remember
to
that,
unlock.
remember that game?
Yeah,
Whew.
that was weird.
And that and Labo and oh man, it's all coming back to me now.
All those are in the trash.
Yeah.
Literally.
Do you want this? You don't want. Sounds like you don't want this.
Are you a Lego person?
Not really.
Not really.
I'm more of like an aspirational Lego person. Like, oh, I think that looks cool.
One
I'll
day.
never
aspiration.
do it.
There we go.
I'll
Yeah.
never build it.
Yeah, I don't
This
really.
is like really hard to build. It looks like something that's going. Yeah, because he's Lego.
I mean, it's a Lego face. There's only so. I think they did an okay job
Yeah.
with
His
the
face,
face.
look, he looks cross-eyed in this.
So like make a round shape, I feel
With
like
a
is really
square
challenging.
Lego,
So
yeah.
yeah, they did a good job.
But are you annoyed if you're Lego that by the time this is out, the world will know everything about the new Mario Kart game, but this is based on the Mario Kart 8 kart? Are you mad?
I don't think they care.
Do you care?
I don't think.
Does
they
anybody care? No.
It's gonna sell. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's a part of the Mario Kart history. I think
It's
they
evergreen,
Evergreen.
as they were-
Yeah,
Okay.
as the word is. Yes.
8.5 inches high, 12.5 long, 7.5 wide. So that's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
It is it's a showpiece. You build it and you display it. It's not for like you to play with or whatever. So. Yeah.
Also for Mario Day, there was an Alarmo update
Oh.
to get
Stop everything.
Super Mario
There was
Brothers
a what?
NES scenes Free update? Do you have an Alarmo? Did you consider getting an Alarmo?
I do not have an alarm.
Oh.
The most I've interacted with Alarmo is your guys' video where you slept on that couch.
Try to wake Kid up
Yeah.
from the alarm. We should update our themes, I guess. We have a Zelda theme now. You don't care.
You guys need to have another test video. I don't know how
I don't think we do. I don't think
For
we
this
do.
one, for
Yeah.
the Mario
Yeah.
themes?
Sleep in public. So, I don't know.
On like a
What's the
park
twist?
bench.
Yeah. What's the twist you can put on it?
And then also Super Mario Brothers 3 came to Nintendo Music, and that's kind of it beyond the other kind of deals and stuff that they outlined last week. So
Great
it
music.
really was kind of a smaller approach to Mario Day this year.
Yeah.
Which in the end I think is best. So we've been comparing Pokemon Day and Mario Day because Pokemon Day just happened. I do think it's best that they have the flexibility to move the news around versus Pokemon, who's like, oh, we need get all the big news because it's Pokemon Day.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Nintendo Music app?
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have not used it
Oh.
in a while. Like I did use it when it first came out for a few weeks, but because it doesn't have a lot of like good CarPlay stuff, like I haven't really
Oh yeah. Huh.
used it in a while. But I think it's nice.
Yeah.
I like the opportunity or the option to listen to it if I
Yeah.
needed to. But I don't listen to it regularly.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it's a really cool concept, but I just wish everything's on Spotify as a subscriber.
Yeah.
Because there's so much other game
all
music
your
on there.
stuff
Right.
is in
Yeah.
one
Right, right,
place, right?
Yeah.
You're now like separated from your other
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I don't mind it though. I think it's Nintendo doing it the Nintendo way, as they say. So.
Some new Switch 2 information may have been revealed by the FCC. Joe, if you need to, you can go stand in the corner and put your fingers in your ears.
I don't know.
I don't know anything, guys. Honestly, I know as much as you guys. So yeah.
No one
Fire
knows
away.
anything.
Great,
Yeah.
let's go. So you know that you have to file things with the FCC when you have a new electronics product, and people who are looking through those filings may have found a couple little details about the Switch 2, talking about how Amiibo support is probably back. It looks like it's got NFC in the right Joy-Con, just like the original Switch. They were talking about how, again, it's got those mysterious two USB ports on the top and the bottom. Both of those are charging capable. And then also it's going to be including a faster version of Wi-Fi hardware. Thank goodness.
Wi-Fi 6.
That's much needed, moving up from the original Switch's Wi-Fi 5.
Okay.
None of this is like megaton level stuff, but I remember when we were doing the 2DS announcement, there was a lot of like, oh, we got to thread the needle with the FCC. We got to make sure these.
Oh, yeah.
Again, like they just don't seem too worried about these things showing up in these official listings when you can be a bit more strategic about when this gets out there into the public, which I find curious.
Could have just waited like 3 more weeks.
I know.
Until
You were almost
that
there.
April 2nd thing happens.
You were
and
almost
then,
there.
Yeah, I don't seem to be super bothered by that, I guess. Or maybe
Exactly.
just lost track of the things they need to do
Yeah,
because there's just so much going
continue
on.
to be a little surprised by that.
Yeah.
I hope the Wi-Fi is good. So I have a Steam Deck OLED, which I think is a great device.
Should she get one?
Depends what you want to use it for.
Let's see.
But the Wi-Fi on it, very bad.
Oh.
I think it's specific to the OLED model.
Oh, really?
There's just something weird about it.
Oh, no.
Like some sort of bug or whatever. So I have trouble with the Wi-Fi on it a lot. But otherwise, it's a great system. So
Oh, that's interesting. That you would think that they would be like really locked in on making that good.
yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. All right.
We have some You're a big Last of Us fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Neil Druckmann, he's getting out there because they are starting the promotion for the new series of The Last of Us TV show, which is coming up soon.
Yeah.
And he got asked about the possibility of a new Last of Us game. And his quote was, "I was waiting for this question." Druckmann says, sighing when asked by Variety, "I guess the only thing I would say is don't bet on there being more Last of Us. This could be it."
I don't believe it.
Do you not think he wants to move on to something else?
I think it'll be some time because they are all moved on to something else, right? They
Right.
have,
That's right. They have that
yeah.
intergalactic one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, by the time whatever he's saying comes to fruition, they have to get that game out first, right? So
He seems to be a little bit traumatized by making these games, and I think he's been one of these developers who's out there saying like, yeah, like I don't know how many more of these I have in me, and he's a relatively young guy too.
Yeah.
So I think just like the effort that he has to put in, like personally, physically, emotionally, and mentally into making one of these games is so high. And I think with a game like this too, where like the reactions from fans are so explosive, like that has to take a
And
toll
the expectations
on him as well.
are so high.
So he's probably like, yeah, I'll do this TV show. Yeah, let's do this. He's kind of like avoiding like doing this.
pulling a Miyamoto.
So
I swear there was that thing in a video like a year ago where he was just like, "Oh, we have the idea for it, and it's gonna happen." And
Right.
now,
Yeah,
now
who
it is,
knows?
so.
Maybe he started doing it
Yeah.
and changed his mind because he was like, I can't
Yeah.
do
or
this
he
again.
may get forced at some
He
point.
might get
So he's like,
forced,
hey, we
yeah.
need this.
It will for sure happen at some point.
You gotta
It's
do
just
this.
How long
Franchise
is it gonna
is too
take?
big for
Yeah,
him to
yeah.
give up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's honestly like the longer they get away from it and make statements like this of like, "Hey, we're not gonna do it," now people want it. Because
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
were just like, "Oh, Naughty Dog is just doing Last of Us now, and
Yeah, this is
they're
just
doing
the
the
only
show, and
thing,
they're
yeah.
remastering it," and then now he's like, "Well, maybe we're not gonna do it anymore." And 5 years from now, they're just like, "We want another
We're back,
one."
yeah.
Right.
Maybe put this game out, this intergalactic game, put that out, and then give themselves a break.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Did you watch the TV show?
I did, yeah.
Did you like it?
I did, yeah. I really liked it.
Okay.
I still like the game way better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just like seeing it again in TV is just like doesn't have like the same impact, I guess.
Okay.
Because the game is like a 30-hour thing. Like it's super
Yeah, you're
long.
really like in it with the characters.
Yeah, and
stuff.
the action makes a difference because it makes you like more attached to like the world and
Yeah.
like, everything in it. So like,
But were you depressed?
like by
The
by what?
game in
By the game?
the subject matter. Deep.
Not depressed, I guess.
It's
but
so
like,
sad.
But it is like very dour. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't really like feel that way when I play like intense games or whatever. Like if I play Resident Evil, I don't feel like scared or like sad about it, you know? Just yeah.
Just is just
Yeah.
numb to the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm just like it's a game, you know?
All right.
Speaking of game developers who would rather be making a movie, Kojima was at South by Southwest. This was an interesting place for him to be making announcements.
Is it though? He sounds like he's like the perfect.
Yeah,
Candidate
I
for
I
this.
thought it's like if there's anybody
out of
who's
any-
gonna be like,
out of-
I'm doing it there.
Yeah,
State
it's
of
gonna
play,
be
not
him.
doing it there.
Yeah, it's gonna be him. I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah.
artist. Okay.
He had a new 10-minute trailer that debuted at South by Southwest over this weekend, and he confirmed the launch date for Death Stranding 2. It's going to be June 26th, which is pretty soon.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, this game, we've known about this game for quite a while, so I guess it's better sooner than later, but that's a little bit earlier than I thought. Did you get, either of you watched this trailer yet?
I watched the trailer.
I watched
yes.
it on like 1.75 speed.
I watched the trailer. I mean, gonna watch the trailer. I have no interest in this game.
No interest. I watched it at a Costco. Yes. While I was waiting in the returns line.
I was gonna say, we waiting for a hot dog?
So in the returns line, and I was like, "Oh, this is crazy! What is this? I have no idea what's happening."
Yeah.
And then I went home and I watched it and said, "This is crazy! I have no idea what's
Yeah, what
happening."
is this?
It's the exact
Yeah.
same thing.
Every time I watch one of these trailers, I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. I
Yeah.
have no idea what's happening. It's like,
I have no idea what's happening, but I'm fully along for the ride.
yeah? Did you play
You're
the
gonna get this?
original?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll
Did you
play
like
this,
it?
Yeah, I did like it. Yeah,
You did like it. Okay.
super like I don't know. There's just something weird about like,
Surreal.
Yeah.
because the first one was about like this is before the pandemic, right? And the whole game is about like a guy fighting an invisible threat while delivering packages in
Yeah.
like a
Right.
post-apocalyptic world, and then that became a real thing. Like,
Do you
like
think
a
he's
months
telling
later.
the future?
I don't know. He's saying like
What's this one about? This is like on the beach.
He said that he like rewrote the whole script after the pandemic,
Oh no.
so it will be very topical.
Something
I guess,
about
yeah.
babies.
I
and a
liked
baby test
the
tube.
gameplay of the first one, but I
The
just
poop bombs.
I was just out on the story, so I
Why does
don't
everyone wants you to throw poop?
doesn't bode well.
Monster Hunter wants you to throw poop. This game
It's
wants
nasty,
you to throw
so
poop.
you know you run away when you.
He does have all these other projects that he's kind of confirmed, so it's good that he can start moving and get going on some of those. at
People will
least.
love this though. This is
Yeah.
like
Did you
I
see the new Solid Snake looking guy?
Yeah.
I was like,
Looks-
I don't know what any of this means, but
Looks a
I'm
lot
in.
like Solid Snake.
yeah. That's just like an elbow to the gut,
Yeah,
to Konami because he's like, want to see what I can do? Remember
Yeah.
this?
I'm a big Metal Gear guy, so I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna do. I mean, that's pretty brazen callback to that though.
Yeah, I'm
you
just
know?
like, just do it, just go.
What are they gonna do to him?
They're
I
not
guess
paying
they could
attention
see-
even. Like whatever.
They got their own game coming
Doing
up.
this pachinko. Okay, let's move on to questions from our community. We get each and every question from our Patreon subscribers. First two in particular are good for Joe here.
Oh.
First is from Kai X. Congratulations on 3 years and beyond. This came from a few weeks ago when we hit our 3-year anniversary. Nintendo notoriously doesn't want a face of the company. Do you think Nintendo will eventually swap out Mr. Takahashi and Mr. Koizumi for another set of faces to present them from becoming mascots for Nintendo? There's certainly no Reggie and Mr. Iwata, but they've been doing it for so long that they're sort of iconic in their own way. Thanks for taking the time to share your insight with us. So these are the guys we've seen in the directs pretty consistently for the last couple years, but maybe is this a time to make a change?
I think it's really based on like who is leading the product for Switch 2, which I don't think we know that. But at that time, like these guys were directors on games and then moved over to or they're also working on the hardware at the same time. So that's why they became like the people in the directs. So yeah, I don't know. So one thing, like I guess I forgot to mention this in the direct portion, but something like I always wanted to push for each time, like, you know, they have their little talking segments in directs, and like sometimes they're kind of like they don't really say anything,
scripted or a little stilted.
One of the biggest strengths of a direct is that like it's not just a trailer reel. I think like people always think these digital showcases just like, let's just show trailers nonstop. But the best part of a direct is there's actually narration that's like telling you what you're looking at. There's some content.
Storytelling.
So like whenever the devs would show up, or you know, like when they're on camera, like I would always want them to like say something about like give you like a little bit of glimpse of like what does this direct mean for Nintendo, or like where's the direction of the company.
Slice of life, like give us a little perspective, you know.
I don't know if we were like always successful in that, but like that was something that I always pushed for. So
I feel like the person that did that the best was Mr. Aonuma. Like whenever he came out with a Zelda update, like there was always a bit more context about like the Zelda franchise as a whole, or like what does this mean for me that's been working on this for a really long time. I think some do better job than others, but yeah, it does seem like Mr. Takahashi and Mr. Koizumi's roles, especially Mr. Takahashi's role, I think, is a little bit more of like the ringmaster. Was it in the circus where he's just like the guy that's like directing you towards the next display or whatever? I think Koizumi, he's more like, I have to imagine he's working on Switch 2 as the guy that led hardware for Switch 1. He has to have some involvement, I think. But yeah, I do wonder what kinds of things he will be saying or, you know, talking about in that April direct, or if he's going to be in it, because I would kind of set the stage for what the future might look like for these directs. For the Switch 2 direct era, I suppose. Yeah.
To your point, you probably heard this story a million times. When we did the Breath of the Wild making of videos, there was we had people go to Japan and like, you know, oversee the filming of all that. There was a scene of Mr. Aonuma like looking out a window drinking coffee, which led to a huge argument of like you must not, like this cannot be in the final piece. Or like, why? It's a nice little transition. It's a nice little slice of life as a game developer, and it just like spiraled out. I was like, this is like how some of these things get blown way out of proportion.
Like they're human.
They're not robots.
You must not show this
I mean,
intimate life detail of him sipping coffee.
It's like weird, right?
Next question is from Haikuo. It's a bit long, so I'm going to skip to the meat of it, although the first part of it talks about having an Okami spoiler cast. That sounds fun for themselves.
Yes.
That's exciting.
I would love to.
Anything we should know about Okami that you're able to share? It's coming, it's happening?
There's the second one that's happening, and Hideki Kamiya is the director. So,
excellent.
Can't wait.
Oh, there's a great interview with IGN. Team went out there to do an exclusive interview, so go check that out.
Neat.
Yeah, love it.
My question is a curiosity I've had for a while. What goes into localizing English language news and social media posts across English-speaking territories? As an Australian, I sometimes find it odd noting the release of certain posts, notable delays or absences, even though the post would assumedly be near identical, ignoring region-specific news. For posts within a close time frame, I presume it's to account for the optimal window to reach the largest audience, even though I usually find out from other regions' channels, as typically the Australia-New Zealand posts are comically late. But the other cases have always baffled me. Using the Splatoon series as an example, special gear pieces would occasionally be distributed via Nintendo Switch News. Japan would receive it first, followed by North America, but then an indeterminate amount of time would pass before distribution to other regions. It was particularly troublesome in the lead up to GrandFest. I thought it might be an issue on the developer end, but this doesn't seem to be the case since the gear is accessible to players of all regions if they recalibrate the region from which they get their news. Any insight you might have on this is much appreciated. Thanks in advance.
Localizing anything takes very long. Anytime we do something like in like US or like pan-Western English, it's normally moving like at a much faster pace than things that get localized because it all kind of like trickles down. So like, yeah, historically, things might be late in another region just because by the time they're able to get to it, the person that's posting it may not even be like a Nintendo employee. They might be like part of an agency, or they might be like getting it from a localization team that brings it to them. So there's just so many like other stakeholders that come in. But whereas like with English, it moves a little bit faster because we have the direct communication with the teams. So that's what I've seen in the past.
Are there a lot of cases where something gets localized in like NOA and then it's, once that's finalized, it's distributed to these other regions like, hey Canada, hey Latin America, hey Australia?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Australia got their stuff mostly from NOE though.
Yes, yeah. So I can't speak for Australia, but for sure, like Canada.
I think you have an answer for all of this then.
Yeah, they... What?
What's your answer to everything involving NOE?
Well, they just copied NOA.
Bank holidays.
Oh, NOE is bank holidays.
Yes, the delays are due to bank holidays, according to Krysta.
Canada, they just copy everything off the NOA stuff. We just give them a spreadsheet. They would have all the stuff in English.
For
They would
Canada,
just-
I believe it's
Canada would just take our content calendar and just post it as their own.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I love the NOE team that I worked with. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Like, I had some really
She's gotten some
good
heat for
partners
this.
over there.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah, I think
when you work 2 days out of the month, you gotta do some work. Gotta do some work.
Yeah, I had some team members. I worked on Astral Chain with them from Platinum,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was a game I really enjoyed working on.
That was fun.
And we had a really cool campaign together. So.
Yeah.
But there is like a little bit of a game of telephone where it's like, all right, we finalize it, we're posting it right now. Oh, by the way, here you go. And like, who knows, whatever circumstance, can lead to a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Like we'll see that too. Like a lot of times Canada will post something like a day or two later.
Right.
After NOA, and it's like, well, something happened. To lead to it being a little bit slower. Wendell Shoemaker is here with a question. Ever since the addition of GBA and Game Boy to NSO, the question has always been, what will be next? We've come up on 2 years since those were added, and based on previous editions, this year would be when we should expect a new console edition. The choices aren't so simple, though. The next handheld would be the DS, which has obvious compatibility issues. The next console would be the GameCube, which may be difficult with how much bigger the file size is for those games, but also that they are modern enough that they are ripe for remasters and remakes. What do you think the next NSO console will be, and will they come with a new NSO tier or price increase?
Virtual Boy. Just kidding.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is
another platform unless they, kind of like the Genesis, if they want to like license wholesale, another platform. Although, I'm not sure how much they want to go to that effort as well.
Yeah.
I think they feel pretty happy with,
with the state of it now.
the volume of games that they have. They're still adding some. I'm sure they will continue to trickle some of that stuff in. But it's a relatively solid library for each of those. And I just feel like they maybe have some new ideas of new initiatives to get people to either stay subscribed to NSO or to come into NSO for the first time. I'm not sure they're necessarily looking at the classic retro games as like the hot new thing anymore.
I do think that this is the generation, the Switch 2 generation, will be when they figure out the compatibility issue with DS, though. I think they're going to figure out some way.
With that second screen peripheral that you saw?
Maybe. Or some other... I mean, the Castlevania games that came to Switch were a good example of how you can make it work, even with a single screen. Because the DS library is so big. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could have access to some of those games again? I would love... Give me all the Laytons. Give me the Ace Attorneys. You can give me the Ace Attorneys. I mean, that would be great. Like, that's a huge library of games that they could bring to Switch 2 that would kind of take the place of all the Wii U games that they brought to Switch,
I think DS is still on the table. But beyond that, that's where I'm like, oof.
It gets a little shaky.
Yeah,
the GameCube, I don't think is happening.
The GameCube stuff feels like a hopes and dreams kind of thing. Of just like,
GameCube,
we're going to drop a 12 gigabyte.
Exactly.
But I also think the GameCube game is like, we can make more money off of it.
We could remake this.
We could remaster
And sell it to you
it.
for $60.
Yeah, we just did
Well,
that
yeah,
with
they have
Paper
them.
Mario.
Yeah,
we did
Paper
it with
Mario, yeah.
Metroid. Like they
You did that to great effect with Resident Evil 4. I paid $70 for that, I think.
happily. Leon, you're worth
Best game ever made.
You're worth
That game is incredible.
You're
The
worth
original.
$70.
That was
in my
that was
heart.
worth me paying for again versus just showing up on some random service.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I feel like there's opportunities that they have, but it might not be like a free NSO update,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Miles is next. Hey guys, after the Switch 2 reveal trailer, my first thought was, wow, the Switch 1 reveal trailer was way cooler than this. I then went to go find the video only to discover that Nintendo had it taken down. It made me wonder why they'd even do that. The Switch 1 reveal trailer was not only historic, it was also met with incredibly good feedback. The comments and like count were all basically glowing stars of approval. I can't think of any good reason to have it taken down. Do you have any ideas as to why?
We all know this.
We've talked about this
That's-
before. Two things that we immediately noticed that the Switch 2 video did not have in it was actual human beings and like well-known recognizable music, aka music that you would have to license. And those are things like where you pay for the usage rights for a certain amount of time. You can buy it for a set amount of time where it expires, and then you can choose to renew it, or you can just let it run out. You can pay more and get it forever. That obviously costs a lot more. And in this case, like they didn't foresee kind of the long-term need to have that video up and out there, so had to go away, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think from their perspective, though, it's like, well, IGN's got it archived there, so it's not like it's gone from the internet, but I do think it's not the best way to look at this sort of thing.
It's
Yeah.
a piece of gaming history.
Exactly. And something that it was a product that you guys released, you Nintendo. Don't you want this piece of
I
history?
think a company that
within
literally
your...
operates their own museum might be interested in having that up.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I'm glad that they didn't make the same mistakes this time, and hopefully that Switch 2 reveal trailer will be
Yeah.
up forever.
As the person who had to go and private these videos myself multiple times,
Yeah.
it's just
It was
like,
a head
oh,
scratcher.
people are going to be
People
like,
are gonna
this
be
is weird.
mad.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
they're
like,
gonna
oh,
read
here we
into
go.
it. Here we
Yeah,
go.
we
with
would
the-
always joke, we're just
the
like,
rumor
oh,
mill.
it's gone. It's been Thanos snapped. It's
a
over.
snapped, yeah. We used to always say that. Gosh.
Last,
You would think they would just have enough money to pay for this ad?
yeah,
to, like,
it's not like it's
how
some
much
crazy
is Karen, the actress, really worth?
holding them
Give
over.
her
a
Is that what they
barrel
called her?
here.
The-
Give her like
yeah.
10K
Yeah.
and she'll probably be happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Like, we don't
We need that 10.
A new rooftop.
A new
Yeah.
rooftop needed. Is needed.
Last one's from Zroid. One of the quirks in Nintendo's licensing agreements with third-party controller manufacturers for the Switch is that it seems they're not allowed to have certain standard features such as motion control and rumble. As a result, the otherwise excellent Hori Joy-Con alternatives are a bit lacking in compatibility with some software. Why do you think Nintendo made this decision? And furthermore, perhaps as a result of this limitation with the officially licensed controllers, there are a host of superlative unlicensed controllers for Switch, such as the 8-Bit Do, which arguably perform even better than the genuine articles and have become quite popular. Do you think Nintendo and or their licensees are regretting these stipulations? What are you playing? What controller do you use on a Switch these days?
I still use a Pro Controller, but
Yeah.
I have these 8-bit.
Those are nice.
Those are
they're-
really
yeah.
nice. Yeah,
well,
I have those too.
they're like $30.
And they're a lot cheaper.
And they
yeah.
have the Hall effect stick, so
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
they're not
Right.
going to drift or anything.
Yeah.
so-
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like if you're getting multiple controllers for like some multiplayer stuff, like you might as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is smart because you're kind of by default creating these different segments of the market, and they own the high-end segment where it's like it's first party, you know the quality, it's going to have all the bells and whistles. But if you want to go cheaper, you can't afford the official stuff. Like now we have this other layer of stuff that's available. It enables multiplayer play, which is a positive for them to have people playing that way. And to be honest, like if you're looking for something that's a bit less expensive, you're probably okay making that trade-off of some of those features that not every game uses, that you don't always need. And I think for them, like the trade-off is they often get to use there's a big picture of Mario on it,
Yeah.
and like that can be a draw.
Well, they can say officially licensed
Right,
by Nintendo,
right, but
which implies some level of quality.
Right, but it's like, well, I can do a
assurance,
Zelda one, I can do a Mario one, and I'm sure that carries a lot of sway with just like a mainstream person in like a Walmart. Like, oh, that's got Mario's face on it. I want that one. That's cute. So I actually think it's an okay approach. But yeah, I have been really impressed. Like in the last couple of years, I've started to branch out and just experiment with some of these other controllers too. And I've been really impressed with them. I agree. Like in some cases, they are better than the official, and they cost a lot cheaper, and they come in all sorts of different configurations. So I think the controller space is in really good shape right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not paying for like a whole set of just all Nintendo first-party controllers. Like that's ridiculous. No one's doing that.
Not everybody deserves that in your friend group.
Yeah, you can play with the
You get the Mad Catz mini GameCube. I bought one of those.
grubby little
I
hands.
was so disappointed.
hand-me-down controller.
On the
Hand-me-down,
GameCube, I
yeah.
bought like the small Mad Catz GameCube controller. This was pure trash.
Oh no.
Like that was a different era. You had the Nyko,
Oh,
the Mad
Nyko.
Catz.
Yeah.
Like
The
Oh,
Nyko
those.
controllers are the worst.
Pure
That
garbage,
plastic
like-
cannot be.
and they were
okay
like, "Oh,
for
you
health
need this
reasons.
intercooler for your GameCube, or
Yeah.
your GameCube's gonna short circuit." Like they were
Oh,
selling
man.
some stuff you did not need.
Yeah, that was
I fell for
weird.
those in the 360 era.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna red ring if
Yeah.
you
Red
don't
ring,
get the
yeah.
if you don't
we were
get
all
this
scared, terrified of red rings.
liquid
Worst.
cooling
Yeah.
Xbox 360.
That's because they try to like do the PC gamer thing
It's a
to
fear
the console
campaign.
gamers.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
knew you were
yeah.
afraid.
They were like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
It's gonna overheat.
yeah.
It's intense. Too many people on
no.
screen.
Get the towel.
the towel trick. Yeah. It didn't work.
The wet towel.
No, you just
Oh, the
like,
towel trick.
It's just
What's the towel
if you
trick?
red ring, you wrap the whole thing in a towel, just a regular
Yeah.
towel, and then you have it just run. And then for some, I guess like
What-
the myth is that it like resolders
Right.
the game.
The thinking
like
was that the
CPU.
chip was coming off of the board.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, if it gets so hot, it's going to resolder itself back on.
That is ridiculous.
I have no idea if it's actually
That's a great-
true,
I
but
you
it would
put like
start
a wet
working.
towel on it to make it like cool down.
I'm sure
Like,
there's
you have
some
a fever,
YouTube video.
You know, you have a little like towel on the
Okay,
floor.
buddy. It's okay.
You're like giving
you
it a
can
little
get through it.
NyQuil or something. You're like, yeah, it's like an ICU for the Xbox.
How many
360.
360s did you run through?
Oh, 6.
You were the first person who had more than me. I had 5.
You have 5.
Wow.
I
You red ring a lot.
Costco trick, towel trick,
yeah,
every trick.
I was punished. Yeah.
You were running scams, tricks. Yeah.
It's like it's a miracle by the end I had not just jumped to PS3 at the end.
Yeah.
But I really liked
I did,
Halo.
not have
Yeah.
these, I did not have these issues with mine.
Really?
I think I only had 2.
When did you get one?
Oh man, 2000 something, 2000.
Well, maybe you could have played Castlevania on Xbox 360 and avoid. You should go back in the
2000 is
past.
it 2002?
I don't think they were out yet.
Time
2004
travel and prevent
maybe?
these issues.
Still not out yet.
Then I don't know.
Because I was like a launch day 360.
I did not get it on launch day then.
And that thing
yeah.
was busted.
Yeah.
Were you launch day?
Oh yeah, and,
And
that,
then it
that
was
thing was
busted.
dead within a
Okay.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Within a
They
month.
let you return it though,
Sometimes.
right?
It was clunk. It's like I don't want to give this away for like 2 weeks. I just got this cool new thing.
They
Like,
send you the
send
coffin.
it the coffin.
Yeah.
And it's like it's good service, but it was like it sucks that I just got this and now
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
without
that's
it
tough.
Yeah.
for several weeks while they fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rough.
Up to like a month. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad. Yeah.
Rough.
Thank
Wow.
you to everybody
That was fun.
who sent in a
Yeah.
question. Don't forget to check us out at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta, where for just a few dollars a month, you get all sorts of exclusive content, early access to this here podcast, and join our wonderful community. Thank you very much for everybody who is subscribed.
Yes, and we're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads. Is Capcom on all these socials? Too?
We are. Yeah. We are.
On Blue Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Threads?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
They're doing
wow.
stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing things. Yeah.
Our TikTok, we get up to
Well,
like,
TikTok,
some
I
pretty
know you
ridiculous
all are on
stuff.
TikTok. Yeah.
Be sure if you are watching to subscribe to this channel. What were people saying if you say hit the
Subscribe button.
like this video? There's some animation that happens in YouTube.
Is the animation playing right
Is
now?
it flashing?
Like this video.
this video.
Yeah.
There's something little Easter egg will
Subscribe
happen
to this
Yeah.
channel.
don't
Thumbs
know.
up. Is
Leave
it
us a
flashing?
comment.
Is it doing it?
for us to read and respond to. And if you're listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give the podcast a 5-star rating, and leave us a written review if you would like to go
Please.
the extra mile. Please, thank you.
You're studying the names very carefully right
Yes.
I'm like, which is the funniest one?
now. There's some
We
good
know.
ones.
Yeah.
We're going to shout out some Patreon community members in just a second. Joe's going to help us do it. This is a time-honored guest tradition.
Yeah.
Our first name is Aaron Hash.
He's the final boss. He's right here with
right
us.
here.
Yes.
So that's his like his.
That's
He
his
never
little
leaves
picture.
this place.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Final
Good
boss.
stuff,
He
Aaron.
is.
Final
the
boss.
Yeah, and this is his actual name.
That's his
Aaron
actual-
Hash.
Aaron Hash.
Yeah.
Very
Means
professional.
business, yes.
Okay, we're gonna go superstars. You're
What's-
gonna go first.
You're going first. All right.
And then we're just gonna go
Okay.
in a round like this.
Okay. Ben Icorn? Is that
Yes.
Icorn?
Maru Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching It Up.
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of wins.
Angela Bycroft.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Wolf Conradson.
Cool name.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Krashuri.
Master Discord. Wow.
Ash.
Ajay Kundlas.
40 gig.
Travis Torline.
Echo Ladare.
That's so Linnell.
MSN Poke Gamer.
All right, that was our warm-up.
That was our warm-up. Are you
Here we
ready?
go.
I'm gonna make this bigger. Is this
Oh.
helpful? It's bigger. Helpful or not helpful?
Oh no.
Okay, here you go. You go first again.
Okay. A Ron Burgundy.
Ali Alejandro.
Andrew Peachy.
Aristu? Yeah, sorry.
Astrodev.
Awesome 46.
Axel.
Barnstorm.
Wait, am I?
Bates.
Ben GB.
Big In Gamer with a Y.
Brandon Kavapel.
Brett Dennison.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Stash.
Bucky Flores.
Cameron.
Chadir.
Chelly_Squirrel.
Crispy Saurus.
Chris Galvin.
Christopher Lay.
Cosmic Titan 718.
Captain Alex.
C. Roper 17.
Dag DeLeo.
Dallas E.
Daniel Phillips.
Dachshund.
Debbie P.
Dre.
No, you
Wait.
missed.
Wait.
You missed one of the
Go-
most fun
oh.
ones to say.
Doinkyo.
Trey.
Dude Dad Life Trilek.
Eccentric Tony.
Elite Peach.
Espars 50.
Furbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Funky Han.
Gamer likes anime.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Jin Wolf.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
Sorry.
Iris Marin.
Jay Random.
Jack Hoving.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemingter.
Jay Wolf.
Callan CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Krista Roddy Kid.
Christopia Party with me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle 325.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Levi Yahoo.
Lex.
Lightwood.
Link 9898.
Little Mikey.
Linko.
Light Latte.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luigi 53.
Luna B.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Mario Man 392.
Mark S.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Nay plus Leon.
Michael Mazer. Oh wait, no, sorry.
Michael Mazer.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
My Tran.
Yeah.
Namey.
Nasir.
Naif E.
Ninja 11.
Noah-san.
Pangy.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gill Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Rain Tech.
R. Burns.
Record Rumble.
Ryuji Utsuhu Okou.
Rob M.
Rob O.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Ryan Hayes 521.
Ryan Haas.
Ryanetta.
Sebastiano Garace.
Sharif Jackson.
Shin Ryu.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Snozzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Starman DX.
Steel Citron.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Keggers.
The Quiet One.
The Shark Among Men.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Chor Cheeks.
Totally Joette.
Totemaru.
Trey Jowie.
Trev Tendo 88.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Suku? Is that Tusku?
Tusker. Yeah. Tyler Geis.
Uncle Jungle.
Victor MK.
Video game stupid.
Vigimictor.
Virid Ian.
Virtual bot.
WG Grizzy.
YU.
He did it right. Kid does that wrong every week. Wicked Davy.
Zelgaroth.
Zapati.
Zero Link.
Droid. All right.
Yay!
That's a big ask.
We did it.
You made it through. You made it through.
You did better than most, actually.
Amazing names.
Amazing names. You know some of these people in this list.
You do. They're undercover.
They're undercover Nintendo people.
Where can people find you online if they said, I cannot get enough of this show?
They want you like an all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue.
Follow the Capcom accounts. Don't follow me.
There we
But
go.
I have a Twitter, I guess. You can find me. Boostoast.
Boost
_toast.
Toast. I'll
With
put it in
two
the
Ts, yeah.
description. And
Okay.
also, of course, all of Capcom's social
Yes.
channels. You're running those. You're doing the
Not
thing.
all of them, but
Not
yeah,
all
I'm
of them.
there.
You're doing the things. You're making it happen. You're the intern posting all these
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
right? Obviously.
I've been an intern for 10 years.
You've been an intern
No.
for 10 years.
Oh,
Oh, my
no.
gosh. Awesome. This is so much fun.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you
thanks
for
for
being
having me.
here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we will be seeing you, of course, in Monster Hunter Wilds. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up for today and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.